And we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another installment of Live Coin Q&A. We have our illustrious panel here with us. My name is Chuck Daughtry. Hey, folks. Let's go ahead and go through the panel and introduce ourselves, and then we'll come back in. Ken?
Hey, how are you? I can't see. Oh, there's the screen. I'm Ken. I operate the 1 Million Pennies blog over on the 1millionpennies.blogspot.com. There's a link somewhere. Just hunt for it. I talk about coins all the time. We have the big show on Sunday. We give away piles of coins. You want to stop in and try to get a piece of that. And I like to teach about coins. I promote the hobby is my thing. If you want your coins to be more valuable in the future, grow the hobby.
Thanks, Ken. Shay.
Yeah, I'm Shay Hoffmaster, also known as Mantic Coins, and I had a coin roll hunting show and where I teach about $half-dollar varieties and quarter varieties, and I am currently working on some coin-related projects that I hope to reveal soon. But great to be here. Thank you, Chuck.
Hang on a second. I'm having audio issues. Okay. Now, Paula.
Oh, hi. I'm Paula Bloom. I babysit Ken. Just kidding. I have a YouTube channel. I also am active on some of the Facebook coin groups. And I am an Aaron variety collector. And that's about it. Thanks, Chuck. Oh, congratulations on your 1,000 subscribers, Chuck.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we did hit 1,000 subscribers on this channel today. And I got a couple of other things, a couple of shout out things. First of all, the 1,000th subscriber was Maya James from Jacksonville, Florida. That was our 1,000th subscriber. And this week, Copper Coins turns 20 years old. So
wow.
It'll be the 14th of October. Copper Coins will be 20 years old.
Congratulations.
And also, just a little bit earlier this week, Copper Coins went over 20,000 images on the website.
Now that is a massively major milestone.
That is.
Thanks. Everything's coming together all at once, and we're here to celebrate. So,
where's my hat?
Your hat. Oh, you sent it to me, and it hasn't arrived yet.
I got maracas. I've got all kinds of stuff.
Maracas. I have mustaches.
So we have a subject to cover, and I'm going to let Shay dictate whether we talk about that or go straight into emails based on how many emails we have. If we've got enough that we think we need to go straight into them, we'll skip the subject for now.
I have 7.
You have 7? Well, we could talk about it for a little while and whet everybody's appetite with the idea of this subject. The subject matter for today for us to discuss is selling coins on different venues, whether it be online venues or shows or coin shops, and what the positives and negatives are for both the seller and the buyer. And it's kind of a, I don't know, I guess it's just a discussion about what we think about these different venues of delivering coins to customers or being a customer. And I guess I can start just by saying that I kind of prefer to see what I'm going to be buying in person prior to buying it. That is, if I'm buying anything of special merit or anything different and odd. If I'm buying a whole bunch of rolls of pennies, that's different. But if I'm buying an 09S VDB, I want to see it. I want to look at it. I want to examine it before I buy it. And doing it through an online venue, it's not quite so easy to do it unless the photos are just fantastic. And so doing online dealing, I think the photos have to be really, really good, or you're just not going to get anywhere. Anyone else?
Yeah, I'm gonna follow up that. Static photos are great, but YouTube gives us a unique opportunity. I can show you a picture of the coin, show you the luster, move it around, zoom it in and out. I can put it under close magnification over here, and this is something you just can't do this. Let's see, I have a hard time doing it anyway. You can't do this with a static photo. You just can't do this. Yes.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Chris. All right, we're in the middle of Ken. I'll come right back to you.
Yeah, you can't do this on static photos, static images, static websites. But what YouTube allows us to do is customer or potential buyer says, can you zoom in on that second four? And this is what we have for opportunities. I can zoom right in on that second four. You want to go deeper and closer? You got it. And the technology available is really just a start. Let's see if I can make that actually focus. There you go. 5 years from now, these digital cameras will be even more impressive than they are now. Gosh, some of these cell phones I have out there can take the sharpest photos I've ever seen. They make the cameras of 10 and 20 years ago obsolete in effect. There's AW. You got to look for that on your Walking Liberty have. Sometimes you get them without the designer edition. But you're going to be able to see the darn thing. Hopefully take a good close shot, good clarity, get the light right. And you can't do that. You want to look at the mint mark? I got you covered, baby. All you got to do is say the word. We can do it live, in person, answer questions, and be responsive to the buyers.
Absolutely. One of the things that I was talking about this morning with the people who helped me with my website was the first digital camera I had for Copper Coins. For those who just joined me, Copper Coins turns 20 years old this week. And about 3 months after I initially started the website, I bought a digital camera. It was a brand new Sony Mavica FD80. And what that meant was that it used 3.5-inch floppy disks. And you can only get 5 images per floppy disk at the 1.6 megapixel rate. And with that, we're talking about almost $1,000 I spent to take a picture of one double die and put that on a CD-ROM that cost me $2. And that was just a really expensive way of handling really less than adequate pictures that were only like 400 pixels wide. Now you get a memory card and a camera that cost you $150. The memory card will hold 1,000 pictures that are 4,000 pixels wide. And people these days that are just getting into the whole digital thing don't realize how hard we had it back in the late 90s. I mean, it really was. It was painful. We've just got the addition of Chris to the mix. This is Christopher Rhodes. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, bro?
Well, hey, everybody. I want to say hi to everybody in the chat. I'm running a little late. Had dinner with my family. I had to go pick it up. I'm Chris Rhodes. Most people know me from Facebook. I'm very active on Facebook coin groups. I do have a YouTube channel, Chris's Coin Channel. I don't post as much as I would like to. I'm very busy. I do write blog articles as well. It's been a while since I've written a new article or updated any of my existing articles, but I plan on getting there. That's Adventures in Coin Roll Hunting. And this is my favorite thing to do with you guys, this Thursday night Q&A.
Yay.
Awesome. Thanks. So I'm hearing that Maya is near the computer now. I can hear what I'm saying. Thanks for being my 1,000th subscriber, Maya. I don't have
that's awesome.
available to show everybody, but Maya is she's 10, right? 10 years old or 11. And she was my 1,000th YouTube subscriber today.
Yay.
Yay!
Very
Does that
cool.
mean you're going to send her something, Chuck?
Oh, yeah, she'll get it.
Pressure.
She's 10.
Hey,
Thanks.
Chuck, I have to ask, do you have any of those floppy disks from back in the day? Do you still have them?
You know what? I threw them away about 5 years ago, but I had
man.
boxes and boxes of them. And then when I was getting ready to move, I noticed I got all these boxes of floppy disks, and I've got no way to read them because I haven't had a computer that had a 3.5-inch drive in it for a long time now, and got no way of reading them. So I just threw them all out. But The only time I took a photograph of an original 1955 double die before it went to slabbing was using that camera and the floppy disks. And those are the images that are currently on copper coins. I'm probably going to be replacing them just because I can get better resolution even through a slab now.
So I can give some input on our subject from a buyer standpoint. I haven't done much selling, so I can't really speak to that. I think one of the best things about Facebook and YouTube, social media in general, from a buyer standpoint, is that you can find a select few sellers that you really, really trust and develop a relationship with them and pretty much trust that anything they're selling you is what they're claiming it to be. And you have to be very selective. Sometimes it's trial and error, but I have, you know, I only buy from a few it's a very short list. But I trust that anything that I buy from them is going to be exactly what they say it is, and I can pretty much buy anything. I mean, they really the assortment is vast. So, so I think that is one of the really cool things about social media and buying from them as opposed to eBay.
I totally agree. There's another thing about being able to buy online is that you can search for anything you want to search for, and you can find it. And I don't know I don't know how many people in the audience can remember 25 years ago, before the internet became a huge thing, and you wanted a particular coin, or you wanted a particular baseball card, or you wanted a particular something to finish a set. Near impossible to find, because you had to go to local dealers and you had to try to find something at a show or a local dealer. You get on eBay and there might be a total of 150 coin lots on eBay, and it was in its infancy. There really wasn't any good way of finding a lot of stuff online, and so person to person was basically your only way of really dealing in stuff, unless you dealt through the mail. But now we've got you can search for pretty much anything you want, and it comes up in Marketplace, comes up in Google, comes up in any place. Just some place you're going to find a place that you can buy whatever you want, and that makes it a positive. So I mean, there's positives and negatives to the whole thing.
Yeah, Amber had a good point. She said, step one, buy from people you know and trust, and step two, know how to identify it yourself. I can say from my own experience that when I first got into this hobby, I really honestly didn't care a whole lot about the specific coin I was buying. I just wanted a lot of it, a lot of stuff. I wanted a lot of coins. I wanted a lot of stuff. I didn't know anything about what I was buying, but I wanted it, and I wanted it now, and I wanted bragging rights. Look how big my collection is.
Right.
And unfortunately, I see that a lot. People buying stuff that they really don't have any idea if it is even what the person says it is. The 4 people that are on this panel are 4 of the people that I trust with anything they say to me about a coin. These are 4 of my main people that I buy from. There's a couple other people that aren't here, but you really have to be selective. I've been lucky, really. I've been lucky.
No, I don't. I think you're smart too. You're able to pick out the good people from the bad people. That's part of it.
And I actually learned pretty early on that I really did care about the coins. It became more about the coins than just buying. I wanted to have good quality coins, and I found my niche with errors and varieties and old copper. Oh God, and half dimes.
And half dimes.
And half dimes.
Oh.
I'm a sucker for a nice half dime.
Jeff Stanley, Coins and Octane, says, insist on quality images from sellers for varieties and expensive coins. If they can't take pictures of their own coin, you're on your own.
Yeah.
And I kind of look at it that way. If you're gonna bother trying to sell $100 coins or $500 coins, you might want to think about getting a camera that'll actually take pictures that people can look at every detail on the coin. And if you can't do that, then they're going to kind of look at it as a little bit shady. Chris, okay, well, let me first fill in. Before each show, the panel gets together, we kind of talk about a subject, and we kind of have a subject that we're going to bring up and kind of discuss during the show. And this week, the subject, I mean, we all decide together what the subject is, but the subject was recommended by Chris. And so I want Chris to get his input on it because it was his own hot button topic.
Yeah.
You're on the
actually,
spot.
It's great that you brought it up right now because I was just about to start talking about it based on Jeff Stanley's comment. The reason I brought it up, Mark Longus, some of you guys might recognize his name. He's pretty active in the community. From time to time, he sends me some links, and he recently sent me a link of an eBay listing. I think it was a 1992 D penny, nothing special, but it was listed as an MS62, PCGS MS62. Unfortunately, the coin was raw. It was not graded and slabbed. And the coin was also severely damaged. Looked like a parking lot penny. And it kind of got me thinking. I used to sell on eBay, not coins. That was before I got into selling coins, but I used to sell all kinds of stuff on eBay. And as time went on, it started to become more of a hassle, and the fees kept rising. The hassle was people could scam you or bid on items and back out, or there was all kinds of shady things going on, and there's no control. It's kind of like a free-for-all on eBay anymore. And that kind of led me to the Facebook sales groups. And I believe that was even well before the marketplace even existed. I moved one time and I sold a bunch of my stuff on Facebook yard sale site. And I was amazed at how many people saw my ads and how quickly my stuff sold and how little work I had to do to sell it because everybody came to me. So that's kind of why I brought this topic up today, because I think there's a major benefit to online sales, but it depends on the platform. Ken talked earlier about the benefits of YouTube and how you can show the coin in real time and move it around and answer questions. And I mean, I think that is so beneficial. It's the closest thing you can get to face-to-face contact with your dealer or other enthusiasts without actually being there. So I definitely got to try that out one day. Right now, I'm kind of stuck on the Facebook groups selling my stuff, but I was also thinking eventually I actually want to go on the road. I want to have a table and set up, because the best part about this hobby for me so far is all the people that I've met and the networking that I'm doing. And I've really been starting to go to a lot of different shows the last year, and I've been meeting a lot of really, really cool people that are dealers for their whole life. That's all they've ever known, is they are coin dealers, and I'm starting to build relationships with these people, and that's something that you can't beat. You just cannot beat that. And it's funny. I recently found a shop in my area. It's about 40 minutes away, and it's called Mace Coin and Card Shop, and they've been around a very long time. And one day I said to my kids, I said, let's go check this place out. So I drove there. I didn't really expect much, and I walked in the place, and I was so pleasantly surprised. The people were awesome. And I talked about this before, but the point of the story is I'm going there tomorrow. So today I decided to give them a call and say, hey, I just wanted to see if you were open tomorrow because it's a family-owned business. You never know. They could be closed, whatever. So I called, and the guy said, yeah, we're going to be here till 4:30. So I said, the last time I was in, I bought a bunch of numismatic reference material from you. He said, oh, yeah. I said, do you have any more books? Do you have any more of that stuff? He said, no. He said, whatever you didn't buy last time is all that's left. He said, but what I do have is a collection of errors that I recently purchased from somebody. I kind of got the hint that he did it knowing that that's what I look for. So I'm going there tomorrow. I got 5 albums of errors to look forward to. And that's the kind of stuff you just can't really beat. I mean, the face-to-face interaction, the networking will always be number one. But unfortunately, you've heard this a million times. I think the hobby is a dying hobby in some aspects. When I go to coin shows, I'm not exactly young, but I'm usually one of the youngest people there. I take my kids, and the dealers go crazy. They're always giving them stuff. They're happy to see kids involved in the hobby because it doesn't happen very often. So that's another good thing. But yeah, where do you live, James? I'll pick you up. And Amber, you're right. I'm probably going to try to buy the whole lot. But I did buy some really cool stuff from this guy last time. I got some really good deals. I'm super excited. I'm trying not to pump myself up, but yeah. So there's benefits to both online and face-to-face interaction, but I think old-fashioned style face-to-face is the best by far.
Do you think there's a possibility that we could be running into a time where the face-to-face is actually fading to a point where we may not even see it anymore here in a few years?
Can I?
Absolutely.
I'd like to get out of that.
Everybody wants to answer that.
Everybody
one.
wants in. Can't
So
go.
I'll just give a real quick answer, and then I'm done because I'm losing my voice again today. I think we're seeing that across retail, period. I don't think I think, you know, a hobby like this and maybe like stamp collecting or some of the, I would say the old-fashioned, the old-timer hobbies, they're probably more affected. But retail in general, I mean, the area I live in, the malls are closing. A mall I went to my entire life, a huge, big shopping mall, I slowly watched the decline of this mall until last year they tore it down to the ground. It's no longer there. So yeah, we are losing that face-to-face interaction and the brick and mortar stores. I couldn't imagine what it would be like to try to be a coin dealer with my own building and the amount of coins you'd have to sell just to pay the bills for that building. I can't imagine that. It's got to be tough.
No, lease will run you anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000 a month.
So while I'm thinking about it real quick, can I do just a really quick mail call?
Yeah, sure.
So I just wanted to thank Chris for sending this to me.
Hey.
But the best.
Hang on. Hold that up there. There we go.
The best part of this was the centerfold.
Hey.
Is that correct?
You get that? Oh my God! You know what?
That's why he doesn't need to sell coins anymore, ladies.
I was wondering why you were so quiet about that package. You didn't say a word to me. Oh my God! You got me good. You know what? Paybacks are coming.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Now the YouTube police are going to come out after me.
Oh my God!
Amber, I hope me wasn't watching.
Oh, boy.
Were you in on that by yourself, or did somebody help you?
No, I just did that. I actually printed that picture out as you were speaking.
I was not expecting that.
Well, I was not expecting this.
So
You know what? I'll be nice, but I should tell them what you
Where
were
are my
expecting.
tickets? Where are my tickets? That's what I want to know.
Tickets.
Hey, I just want everybody on the panel to know, everybody on the panel, if you buy something from me, you may get a little surprise in there. I have a couple friends that have recently gone to Vegas and they've picked me up some supplies.
Oh,
So I have confirmation today that I got a few more things coming back next week. So
the blood.
if you buy something from me, and Beth, you've been buying a bunch from me, so maybe I got some for you too.
Yeah, I'm going to do all I can to chop that segue in half and just say, Ken, what do you have to put in on this?
Look, the hobby goes beyond just the coins. The coins are great. Everybody likes the coins. It's the common thing is the coins. But it's those human relationships you build in talking with these other dealers, going from, coin shop to coin shop, or at the coin shows where you see the same guys, month after month or season after season, depending on the show. That's a key part of the hobby. Back in the day, if you wanted a particular date, if you wanted a particular mint mark, you're looking for a 1906 Barber half dollar in, VF or better. They were few and far between because we couldn't make the connections that we can on digital with the internet and searching as we can today. And it would take months to find a coin. And then maybe it's good enough or it's problem free. They were tough. It's changed over the years. Let me tell you now, you can find 30 of them right now. But you still have the personal aspect that makes a big difference. Over on eBay, you don't know anything about these sellers. You can contact them, but what? How do you get to know them? How do you build a reputation? How do you build a rapport with these sellers on eBay? You can't. It's every man for himself over there, and anything can happen to you every day. Chris and several of us have been working on the sales group over there on Facebook, and it's vetted. All those sellers that are in there are vetted, so we know who they are. They pass the test. They know what they're talking about. And there you see the same darn people over and over posting good quality coins, right? And we can build a rapport with those folks. That's a big, giant part of the hobby that cannot be neglected. And I don't see that part going away. It'll be enhanced because of the digital technology. You got a picture and stuff. You got a head and a voice together along with the coins right beside them. That's working great. The days of the old store, the brick and mortar store, those are few and far between because, well, geez, it costs so darn much. And I could just do it, for the rent it takes and the bills and the mortgage and the water and sewer bill and the insurance and security systems to run a store. I could build a really nice shed out here in the back field, get lights, get a disco ball, have a really nice setup. And then I have no more bills, maybe electricity and heat, but that I'm not paying rent downtown in the high rent district. And the internet lets me get out and meet everybody in the whole darn world. Brick and mortar stores are tough.
But being in your back field in a shed, what's your chances that someone's going to walk in with a great collection for you to buy?
Not too good. That's the only thing.
Right.
One thing about the coin shop in town, people get desperate. They want to sell their coins right now, and they take them in and drop them off. And pretty much you'll take whatever you offer. That's kind of nice. You can get some great stuff at a great price. Desperation has its place. But I don't think you need a giant coin shop in town anymore to do that.
No, for sure. I'm kind of seeing, I'm agreeing with everything that everyone said so far. It's kind of a societal thing, is that society has begun to teach us to look for the best deal, the best price, and not worry about who we're getting it from or what's going on. We go to Amazon for something and we'll pay 4 cents less for it from someone than to go locally down the street and have to put shoes on and get in the car and drive down the road to pay sales tax on something down the street. But all in the same time, that's not supporting our local businesses and keeping local businesses alive, which keep jobs going, which keeps commerce going. And it basically just strengthens. And I've got nothing against Amazon, but if you strengthen Amazon to a point where they're the only retailer left, then we have problems because, well, they're the only ones left. So, I mean, that's just for the generalia of retail as a whole, and not numismatics, not specifically coins, but I think coins are following the direction of a lot of the other things in the retail as a whole, like what Chris mentioned when he talked about how the mall in his area was closing or had already closed. There's a lot of malls around the country that have closed and they've been razed to the ground. And it's part of it's because malls were just very expensive and they weren't a great idea to begin with. But even the big box stores that had their own shops are starting to close down locations. And some of the chains are closing altogether. And all of this comes around when we talk about coins, because that just makes rent more expensive for other people because, well, the property owners aren't making the money on the malls anymore, and makes rent more expensive. It makes a lot of things more expensive and makes us pay more. Thus, everybody's going to the internet and it's a lot less personal. So it's kind of a vicious circle.
Well, there was a rather famous writer. His name is Alvin Toffler, and he talked about I think he had a book called The Third Wave, and it was all about society in the future of our connectedness to each other, and how computers were driving us into our own individual cells, and just our single locations where we never really had like pure human interaction. It was all electronic, and so I think while that may be a future that could happen, I think that we're like most animals, we need some love and attention and affection at times. So human
need a hug.
Yeah, give me a hug. Anyway, what does it have to do with coins? And I think tonight's topic was, what about buyers and sellers at coin shows, or buyers and sellers at YouTube, and buyers and sellers on Facebook? Well, there's disadvantages and advantages to all of them. I tell you, as a seller, being at home, I can spend the time with an individual, talking to them, chatting with them, via video chat or in text. I can send them pictures, and I can really interact with the person on individual to individual level. Whereas at a show, a seller is got to be prepared for that show. Everything has to be labeled. He has to have prices. It has to go out on the table. It has to know what he has, so he knows whether or not he's getting ripped off. And really, he can only talk to maybe one or two people at a time, but he has to go fast. So he can't spend that face-to-face time with each individual. So it doesn't leave a very great experience for buyers who go to shows, who are also competing with a whole bunch of other people to get that dealer's time to look through his stock, to find whatever they're looking for. And so the sellers, it's all a contradiction. The seller's trying to sell as much as he can to cover the cost of the table and make a profit. And it may be the one time over the next 2 months that seller will sell anything, because they wait and they sell show to show to show, and that's it. That's all they sell. So there's a lot of, I'm not a big fan of shows, but it is because of the competition I have to look at coins. But when it comes to selling, I prefer being at home, being able to sell on YouTube or Facebook, because I can give the attention to every coin. And it doesn't have to be ready. I can have the stock over here. I can prepare it as I sell it. It's just a whole different way of being a seller. Anyway, being a buyer, I don't get to hold the coin when I'm at home. I don't get to reach out to eBay and grab that coin and put it under the scope. So there's a problem, and I'm going to buy some percentage of garbage. But if you're really careful and you pay attention to those return policies, and you look at seller reviews and all those things, you could actually get a good deal and be able to return the coins that turn out not to be what you want. So, and people have, and so let's correlate that back to Amazon, where you can buy a pair of pants. If it doesn't fit, you can return it. You buy a pair of shoes, it doesn't fit, you can return it. You buy a pair of glasses. I think as long as we're honest sellers at home, and we don't try to sell something that a coin isn't in the first place, we're not going to suffer the cost of getting returns for coins that aren't what we say they are. It's not an honorable thing to do anyway. So, but have a return policy as a seller selling from home so that people can feel comfortable buying something and they can return it if it's not what they want. But I don't know. There's so many things to talk about. I could probably talk about it for hours, but there you go.
Well, I'm sure we all could
think about some things.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a certain amount of the advantage of being able to sell online, because I don't know how many other people here hold the distinction of being a person who has sold in a coin shop, at shows, and online, as well as bought in all of those as well. I'm sure a few, but I found that there are different purposes for different things. And I love to buy in person, but I love to sell online, because selling in person, like at a show, my stock personally, copper coins, is mostly Lincoln cents. And so if I set up at a show, I kind of feel like a duck out of water, because I've got Lincoln cents. And there's a bunch of people around looking for gold and silver. They're looking for silver dimes, or they're looking for junk silver. They're looking for Morgan dollars. They skip right by my table. And here I've bought a table to show my wares, and there's so very few people interested in what I've got, because if I take 5% of the market and it's a show that has 100 people, then I get 5 people. But if I take 5% of the market online, we're talking about 100,000 people. And there's plenty of people online that I can find easily who want to buy and sell Lincoln cents. So because I'm in such a niche market, online seems to work really well for me. Because if I was set up at a kiosk in the mall, I'd be wasting money. Yeah. And that's just kind of the way I look at it. If I was a generalist seller, and I have set up with generalist dealers and been able to sell anything from currency to half cents, it might be a little better for me. But the way things are, being the specialist that I am, just makes it really too hard for me to sell in person and even have a chance of making any money.
I haven't done coin shows in 20 years. I used to go in, take binders full of, pretty much mostly pennies and nickels. And I make pretty good money for back in the day. I'd walk out of there, I got $50 above what I paid for things. And that was a nice shot in the arm when minimum wage was, $4 or $5. But geez, you had to have everything ready. You got to get all the coins laid out. You got to have them in the folders and the holders, in the pages. Get your binders in order, packing them up to get into the car. Then you haul them out of the car into the show, lay them out of the table. You need help. By gosh, if you got to go to the bathroom, what are you going to say to the next guy? Watch my table. If you know them, you can get away with that. It takes a while to build a rapport. We can say that with somebody, who's essentially your competition. At the end of the show, you break it all down, you pack up the car and you go home, then unload the car. And then you got to put the books back together for everything that's sold so you can be ready for the next show. It's a lot of work. Now, something like Facebook, if you want to get started selling coins, you can offer just a handful of coins. I have 5 coins. They're extra. I'm not doing anything with them. Take the photos, put them on there, list them, explain them, and you can build a little side income in effect. Geez, what if you can pick up an extra $50 a month? For a lot of people, that's enough to make a nice little, shot in the arm. You could effectively use the hobby to take care of itself that way. And you don't have to get into this giant stock up a truck and haul it away. It's small scale, and for a lot of people, it's a taste. It's a way to get their foot in the door.
That's one of the very reasons why some of the brick and mortar dealers, I'm not going to say a lot of them, just some of them, kind of look down on the vest pocket dealers and the people who deal online, because we don't have all the overhead. We don't have all that extra work. We don't have to pay rent on a building and all that sort of thing. Well, I don't know. I kind of see it as being more efficient. I kind of see it as doing it my way. That doesn't make me any less of a dealer because I still have to understand the market. I still have to understand what I'm dealing in. I still have a lot of prep time and prep work. I've got a lot of equipment that I've got money into. I've got a section of my house used as an office. I've got storage facility. I've got everything else that a dealer would have. The only thing I don't have is that retail space where they're going to walk in and sell collection to me. And that would be a benefit. But
I'm going to interrupt you guys, but I'm going to interrupt you guys.
you go ahead. You interrupt.
Well, I don't want the people in chat to think we're ignoring them because we are getting a buttload of questions in there. And I don't want them to think we're not looking, and we'll get to your guys' questions. It's just that during this time of the show, it's difficult when there's this discussion going on. But there's a lot of people like responding and asking questions as you guys are talking. I don't want them to feel like they're being ignored.
Oh, for sure. I've been watching the comments all along. I just haven't really picked anything out that I know much about yet.
Yeah. Well, most of the questions have been about coins that they found and stuff like that. But you guys are more than welcome to. Please feel free to send. Even you don't have to have a picture of a coin. If you have a question about a coin, you can always send it to that email too, and we'll get to that. So,
or if you have a general question about dealing or numismatics in general, pretty much. I mean, we can take questions on anything.
Yeah, They're
just don't ask me for psychiatric help.
It's just hard for the panel to answer questions in chat during this discussion time because they're kind of, going like doing a roundtable and between the panel members. So it's hard for them to answer questions about coins during this time. So if you have a coin that you have a question or you found something and you want to know something about it, send it to that email right there. And you don't have to send a picture of it or anything if you just have a general question. I just don't want you guys to feel like you're being ignored. So, sorry. Carry on.
Yes, Sindelicious, we've had this conversation before. You cannot have Sherman, but thank you.
Hey, Amber brought up a really good point. It's actually one of the few negatives I can think about being either a dealer or a buyer at a show or a store is getting robbed.
Yeah.
It does happen, and I've heard about it happen around here. Somebody, as a matter of fact, somebody I know went to a show, went out, loaded all the stuff that he bought for resale in his trunk. Somebody must have been watching him, followed him. He stopped at a restaurant to get dinner with his girlfriend, came out, and somebody popped the lock on his trunk and robbed him.
Yeah.
So it does happen. Now, I when I go to shows, I'm wary of that because I know of an instance where it happened. So, I have this thing. I try to find a weird place to eat that I've never eaten at before because I'm always traveling to go to these shows. But I try to park in an area where I can see my car from where I'm sitting. So just keep that in mind. That kind of stuff can happen, and it does happen quite a bit.
Yeah. There's one layer of security involved if you're doing a little home-based business. Every bit of mail that you send out, you can use a post office box. So it becomes difficult to trace your location specifically to your street address.
But be prepared to be dragged through the ringer to get a P.O. box because you have to prove where you live. You have to prove why you're getting a P.O. box at that post office. You have to be able to provide pieces of photo ID. It's not like it used to be where you could just walk in and say, hey, I'd like to rent a P.O. box.
You got to try White Springs, Florida.
And please just use a different name than anything with the word coin in it on your labels.
Your envelope.
Don't send it to Mantic Coins. Send it to Shay Hoffmaster. I'll send you stuff from me, not Mantic Coins. And I have only lost one package ever. And that was to a place in Ireland because the person gave me the wrong address. So, but if you don't take certain precautions, you're gonna have some trouble. Yeah. The post office box is a great idea. That way you don't have mail come into your house, so that all the people that handle your mail or your neighbors don't see that you have big packages coming in. I don't know. I live in a pretty safe place, so I'm not too worried. Packages have ended up on my front porch, not coins, but I know in some places people have real big issues with people just walking by taking their packages off the porch. And if you're buying and selling coins, yeah. And there's even a guy that does a YouTube where he makes a special package that like blows up a glitter bomb in people's car. It's so awesome.
I love those. I love those.
That was neat. Out here, the biggest problem with mail is a truck hitting your mailbox out by the road.
Guy with a baseball bat.
That's happened.
There was many reports of mail theft from within the post office itself as well. So that's why, like Shay said, it's very important to, don't make your packages conspicuous. And there's other things that people do sometimes to try to make packages safer. There was something I read a while back. I think it was about insurance. If you got a certain amount of insurance, your package label would actually be a different color. People started catching on to it. There's all kinds of things that these people are looking for, but I've seen a couple places send out items and it's coming from, like, they'll have their business name. As Shay said, don't ever do that. That's terrible, terrible, terrible.
Well, Amber, I sent these guys a picture earlier of the last guy that tried to steal a package off my porch. What happened to him? It wasn't ugly. I mean, it wasn't pretty.
Yeah, now he's sitting on your bench out front. He sharded.
Yeah.
We're not going to go there.
Ken pointed that out to me. I didn't even notice it. He told me I need to paint it brown and put a fog machine next to it.
Use that post office box, the litter box. When it's full, wrap it up. That's brilliant.
I just have a hard time with how I'm going to get over a litter box. I don't have a cat.
I hate litter boxes. I hate it.
You're gonna have to train Sherman to go in a box.
I can't train him to do anything. You serious? I've already got him. I've already tried to get him to ride a rocky horse. He won't do it.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
And a skateboard. He won't do that either.
Now that would be cool.
I've seen a picture. I've seen a film of a bulldog.
Coconut.
Yeah, they'll do it.
He can crack a coconut.
Shay, let's hit an email real quick.
Yes.
All right, I've got some loaded up. Let me see what we can do here. Just give me 10 seconds. You surprised me.
Look at that handsome fella.
10, 9, 8. Come on, people. Okay, I'll take this opportunity to show you the front of my new Copper Coins T-shirt. We are in the midst.
Nice.
We're in the midst of working on getting them ordered, so they will be ready for pre-order through Amber Panel within the next week. So I just want to let everyone know.
Free samples to all panel members.
All panel members, yes. All right, Shay.
Hey,
you've had your 10 seconds.
Is Shay ready yet?
What was that?
You need a second, Shay?
No, I think I'm ready. I think I'm ready. All
no
right.
numbers in chat.
You ready?
All right,
I'm not
Shay,
ready. I got ready.
There she goes.
I thought I was.
Oh my God. Come on now.
I got one ready.
You had one job.
Try it.
One job.
Who are we going to? Ken or Shay?
I got one ready. Okay, let's see. No, I'm not ready.
Oh my God.
Yep. Okay. Here are pictures of a 1918 S penny we found. There are no RPMs listed for the 1918 S on any websites. The last picture shows the mint marks next to another 1918 S for comparison. And it's from Jason Wilder. We've got his photos here. somewhere. Here we go. We got a 1918S, and he's saying, "Is this a repunched mint mark?" And I'm going to get in. I got a couple of close-ups of this, and we're going to find out. Where'd you go? This is the mint mark in question. Now the photo here is a little bit fuzzy, but we're starting to get a look at it here. Let's get in for this one. How about this shot?
Very substantial die wear.
This is that's what I would call this. This reeks of dye deterioration. If you follow these lines, they'll point right to that spot under his ear, which is the center of the coin. This is dye deterioration.
Yeah.
I see no evidence of it being a. I thought I had some more photos. I don't see any evidence of a repunching.
No.
But the general condition of the coin, it's a little boring, especially around the outer details. It's the only shot I have of the whole coin here. But up here, you see the same darn effect. If I draw a line from the center, which is right under his ear here, outward, this is the radial pattern of the metal flow. And you can see a lot more up here. Let's see. There we go. Again, with these letters just mushed out. They've lost their detail because of the dye wear. And this is consistent with what's going on in the mint mark.
Yeah, I'm going to go with die wear on that as well. That's especially when you look at In God We Trust and you see the stretching toward the rim up there, and you turn and you look at the mint mark and you've basically got the same effect stretched toward the rim. Yep. For a repunch mint mark, generally you need something. I'm going to go with a Bill Fiva term called character. It needs to have something separated, some notching at the corners, needs to have a separation line on it somewhere. If it's just stretched out like this, I would always go with die wear. I guess everyone else agrees.
See it on 9.
100% agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got another one. You want to go with that, or Shay got one yet?
I've got one ready to go.
Okay. We'll go to Shay and then we'll come back to you.
Okay.
All right. So Agent Lumpy sent a coin in and then said, "Here we go again with my apophenia." And I had no idea. I hadn't heard that word. So I looked it up and put the definition up there. Sorry.
Tendency to mistakenly perceive connections and meaning between unrelated things.
So here's the coin that was sent. Let's take a look at some of these photos.
State Lincoln sent. Was there specifically a question?
No.
Oh, okay.
Are these photos unrelated to the email?
These came with the email.
The only thing that I could figure that would make
You don't get what I did there, do you?
is someone perhaps calling this a white AM when in 1960 it didn't make any difference. So
Well, you may be thinking it's doubled too with all the lighting issues that are on that coin.
oh yeah, that's kind of a given that it's going to be really hard to see.
Mm-hmm.
The only place where I would know of a double die that would be visible at that magnification would be over on the RICA and the initials on the reverse.
Right side.
And even there, it's kind of hard to see because of the lighting, but that could possibly be one of them.
You know, the close-up of EPU kind of tells me that that's the area he was looking to focus on, maybe. And I don't see anything out of the ordinary.
Right, yeah, because the S in E pluribus would also be very stretched out if it were die number 2. So I'm not really seeing anything. So unfortunately, in cases like this with non-questions, we're left to guess what the question is. And although that's fun sometimes, it's not necessarily what we should be doing in a show trying to figure out what problems people have with their coins. We prefer to have the actual question. This is also a large date, just in case anyone was wondering. 1954S. This one's new to me. I need some schooling, teachers.
I think this is the PIDT. You
Oh,
get several of those.
Get ready to go back to school.
I think Shay needs to go back to school.
yeah, right.
Yep.
Hey.
Posting. PIDT.
All right. So what do we? Is this the one, the indirect design transfer?
Yes.
Yeah. This is very common.
Mm-hmm.
This is very common. It's especially common on some of the later wheat dates. It's also very common in the mid 60s.
Memorials, yeah.
It's a beautiful coin.
It is a nice coin. So maybe I'll give a little bit more detail of what causes this. So when the coin's being struck, you guys hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, we can hear you.
Sorry. So when the coin's being struck, the areas on the obverse that are flat are under much more pressure than the raised areas. That pressure transfers through the planchet onto the opposite die, the reverse die. And over time, it starts to wear that die out in those areas. So pretty much that's all that causes it. It's a specific type of deterioration on the die, but it's based on the design of the coin and the high pressure areas. Old British large pennies are also very infamous for having this as well. I've seen it on Mercury dimes a lot, but it is very common.
Newton's balls. Right, Ken?
Newton's balls.
Newton's balls.
Some people also refer to this as ghosting.
Ghosting, yes. Somebody want to explain how they can tell the difference between that and a clash? Because it's commonly mistaken for clash.
Clashes are going to be very sharp. The indirect design transfer looks essentially like a clash through a whole bunch of stuff like metal, which is what this basically is. It's the change in elevation on the surface of the die that makes it wear in such a way that the flow lines flow in a slightly different direction, which from a distance or from naked eye view makes it appear like the design is actually coming through. Whereas on a clash, it has nothing to do with the wear on the die. The clash happens in an instant, and it's sharp and easy to see the design, even though it may be very weak.
And you can see on PIDT, there's areas that are raised and there's areas that are sunk in. That give it that kind of ghost-like appearance.
Right.
It's subtle.
Yeah. But like Christopher said, it's just basically a form of die deterioration.
What were you showing us, Ken?
Well, I just happen to have a large British large set here.
Okay. I noticed that, and I wasn't sure what was.
You just got distracted.
Got distracted. He saw shiny and had to go.
Yeah.
One penny.
Oh, shiny.
Sorry, she's upside down. She's pretty wore out. But that's a British large penny. I can show it better over here.
But if you were over 100 years old, you might be a little worn out too.
Exactly, Amber, like a ripple in the water. Yep. Or a clash is a very sharp raised area that can be, yeah.
You'll find a PIDT on these as well. This one does not show it. I've got another one ready if you want to see it.
Go ahead.
Okay, trying to verify that if this 1915D, can we see this?
Yes.
Okay. Is it double die or not? Trying to decide on these older worn coins is difficult. It appears to me that it has an extra bar under the L of Liberty. And that's from D. Reese, Doug Reese. And I got pictures. Let's see. We can have a look. Is this
Hey,
a
Doug? I just sent your package out today, buddy.
reverse? Now, it's always good to send a picture of the obverse as well as the reverse. It gives us information that you might not think to add with the question. And the date, 1915D, the 1 looks centered. 5 is the right shape. He was asking about an extra bar under Liberty.
Yeah, I can see it under the L.
Yep, that bit there.
Yeah. And I have an answer for that. It's the bar under the L is indeed hub doubling, but it's hub doubling on a master die. There was master die doubling in 1915 that ended up on probably about half of the 1915 Lincoln cents. And a friend of mine by the name of BJ Neff kind of brought this to light and discovered it around 2006 and brought some examples to the fun show in Orlando and showed them to me and a few of the other die variety people. We all kind of came to an agreement that there was a master die that was doubled that we had not been aware were doubled. And we took a look at the different coins, and they had come from different dies. They had different die scratches and different die wear on them. But what was the same between all of them was that doubling on the L. And so it is amazing die, but it's a doubled master die. And being that it's a doubled master die, it's not going to have any additional value.
Just like the 72s.
Yes, it's like the 72. There's a number of other years. 1960 has one. 1960 large date has one where you can see a little bit of doubling on the inside of the E of we.
Yeah.
1957 Lincoln cents have a little bit of doubling on the bottom of the G and the D in God. There's a number of different years and different series that'll have a little bit of doubling that transferred from the master die through the hubs to the working dies. And so you end up with a lot of them that have this a little small amount of doubling that looks like a doubled die because, well, technically it is. But also technically it has no collectible value because, well, most of them are that way.
What I find amazing is that
one question
it took
comes up
almost
is
100 years. Oops, sorry.
One question comes up is if you find one without it and it's rare, is it?
Sometimes that can be the case, but it really takes a specialized group of people to really care about the quote unquote normal coins that look completely normal that are scarce just because they're normal.
Yeah, that's what the 69D no FD floating roof is starting to become.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's a really good example of that. In 1972, there were a number of different double dies reported over the years. One of the double dies reported over the years is known as die number 4. Anyone who does double dies, especially in Lincoln cents, knows about die number 4. It's very rare. They're only known in early die state. There's not very many of them out there. If you find one, you're looking at $1,000 coin. Well, die number 4 has specific markers on the reverse. They're die scratches near the U and the N of United. And once you know those die scratches, you can almost identify one of these from the reverse alone. Well, the thing is, they pulled the double die and put a normal obverse die with the working die of the reverse that was paired with die number 4. And so a certain number of people decided, oh, well, let's collect that reverse because it belonged to a very rare double die. Well, that's fine. I mean, they can collect all they want to collect, but that die could have gone through a normal life, and there could be hundreds of thousands of those out there, whereas the double die was retired early. But if you look at the reverse markers for the double die, you can take the challenge of actually finding that same reverse in a normal roll of 1972 pennies.
That's too deep for me, man.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Shay, what you got, buddy?
From David Weasel, 1983, Lincoln Memorial Cent, possible CUD.
Chuck, was that on a filly?
Yes.
Okay.
Did I just see this in one of the groups?
Yeah, I think we saw it in the group, didn't we?
Yeah.
Well, the one,
I found my first cud.
yeah, that was Layla.
Yeah.
That is definitely a cud.
Mhm.
Good.
Now here's a question. I've got a dumb question for everybody here.
Well, we got dumb answers.
Well, that's why we're here. The letters in cud, is that an acronym? Does it stand for something? Like
Not-
going under duress or something? I don't know.
No, I think we talked about that once before, and I don't think so.
So humor me. I wasn't around then. What did we decide cud meant? Does it have any real meaning at all?
It's a made-up word like
No
Chad.
clue.
So it really means nothing. It just happens to be what we call it.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Or Seepins.
Yeah, sepins.
C-pins. You have to pronounce it right. It's more of a southern term. It's like C-pins.
Sepin.
C-pins. So then cud happens to be what a cow chews
What
on,
does it mean, Amber?
but it also happens to be a
It
piece of
does.
off
It
duck.
does have a meaning, Amber said. It does have a meaning. Sepins. What does it mean, Amber? Come on, girl. Let us know. We're dying here.
Okay, so we got one from Mr. Gravett.
It said a cud will usually take the shape of a C, a U, or a D.
Okay. Well, I guess that makes sense because all of them have a straight or curved edge.
A J.
A C, a U, a D. Sorry, folks. I just
That's
ate an
me.
Italian
So it doesn't stand, it's not like an abbreviation or anything. It just means like this shape, I guess.
Right.
Like, yeah.
I guess that makes sense.
I remember this.
Yeah.
one.
It's kind of like they call like in the old Frank Spadone books back in the day, you would have a D over D RPM, and the second D would be incomplete, and they'd call it a D over L or a D over C, or something like that.
A D over J.
When I first saw that, I said flag. Like a 1956 with a flag on top.
Okay.
I figured it out later as I learned more.
I have seen this one.
What is it? I didn't see the
Yeah.
question.
Yeah, we had this one before.
Did we do this one last week?
I think this might have been like one of the I think the email might have slid up into some of the other email. Yeah.
Okay.
We did this this is one of the last coins we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But amazingly, it's marked with a later date.
There it is.
From being a 41 to a 56.
It's a lamination.
Well, maybe it got read and then checked as unread.
Maybe.
Or maybe they sent the wrong image in their email.
Well, maybe. Cut is short. Art said cut is short for crud.
So you got crud on your coin.
Good.
A lot of people would like to call it extra metal.
Yes.
Well, it isn't actually extra metal.
Well, it's just
It's in the wrong place.
broken die.
It's the same metal
You know,
you would have
it's funny
normally
you said that. I've actually bought some from an old dealer one time, and that's what he had written on the 2x2s, extra metal.
Yeah, a lot of people do that because if you put a dab of clear glue on a coin near the edge and let it dry, epoxy or something like that, it'll take on that appearance, and you can almost pass it off as a cud. And that's where we end up with, that issue. We're looking at the same coin again. The
Yeah.
8 channels.
We did it.
Sorry.
Shay,
What?
I
What?
think you put the wrong juice in your vape tonight, man.
Shay's been picking the crops that I drove by today. That's why they haven't been online lately.
Just make sure they keep it illegal in Texas, huh?
Okay, I've got one ready.
Again?
Okay, where is it? It's gone. There it is. This is the famous 1976 filly, still in a mint set, wondering what would cause the rim markings and whether it is a pre or post mint damage.
Well, I bet I don't even show the picture yet.
Okay.
The cellophane crimping.
It's going to be packaging damage. Yeah.
Yep.
You think so?
I'll betcha.
Without looking at it, what would we expect to see for crimping damage?
Just
Something that
exactly
almost
what
looks
it looks like on the mint packaging where it's crimped.
Yeah.
Just exactly that pattern.
Like repeating lines.
Mhm.
Okay, let's look
Yeah.
at it. And I've got a dime. Line.
Oh.
They're horizontal in this particular case. Line, parallel lines.
Mhm.
Let's look at the next one. And we got some shine here, which is the rim or the cellophane. Here we have repeating lines.
Yep.
Evenly spaced, good and sharp. Same
Yes.
image. Yep.
Even
It got
it even
big.
like chamfered down the edge.
It got big.
Yeah. That's a,
Sad about this.
Shay
So-
just said he was going to quit his job.
it's
That was,
I've actually got I got a mint set right here.
was that yours, Shay?
No.
Oh. I heard
No,
you crying.
I mean his job here.
You'll be okay.
But I have
No
strong
pressure,
empathy.
No pressure. Your mom's watching, man.
Oh, is she on? Kathy, right? That's your mom's name?
That's my mom.
Is she on?
Yeah.
So Shay,
Oh, I didn't see her come in.
Cliche. Okay, I've got a proof
Oh,
set
there
from,
she
I
is.
don't know, 1961 right here, and it's in the cellophane package.
I can't call you that.
Things out, and then they have a machine that crimps it. Right, you can see the crimping, and it uses pressure and a little bit of heat to do the crimping process. But mostly it's just the pressure because it's plastic, and with enough pressure, it'll squeeze together.
Exactly.
Like the coin is a little off to one side, and I can actually shake those down just a little bit. Okay, maybe not so much. But if the coin gets into the space that's going to be crimped, that little crimper is going to leave some awful marks on the coin. So it's definitely post mint, and it's a darn shame too. And you find them every now and then. They're kind of interesting, but technically they're damage. It's mint caused, but it's caused by the mint department, not by the minting process.
So mint damage.
Yep.
Instead of post mint damage, it's mint damage. Still damage though.
But
Because they don't care about me or my needs or my feelings.
now post mint damage, and this is kind of one of my little pet peeves. People say post mint damage. They oftentimes think that means that it happened after it left the mint. In my way of thinking, it happened after the coin was minted. Now, it has nothing to do with the actual mint. It's the minting process.
it's actually the verb mint.
Yes.
When the coin is minted,
Thank you.
anything that damages it after that minting becomes post mint damage.
The minute that die comes off the coin, that strike.
So we should call it post strike damage.
That's what I told you the other night, Ken. We had this discussion.
We got those.
Like, why don't they call it post strike damage?
I usually just say damage.
Oh, because then it would be PSD, and I'm sure we can
PSD,
find something
yeah.
else that belongs to.
Right.
And Chris,
yeah.
that's like saying everything on a coin is extra metal. It's a double die. No, it's extra metal. It's RPM. No, it's extra metal.
Damn it.
Everything
calling
is
you
extra
out,
metal.
All right. We got another email.
I just wanted to get somebody else that was like on my side with that, because for some reason that makes me cringe every time somebody's like, it's post mint. It happened after it left the mint. No, okay.
Hey, extra love to everybody sticking up for me out there in Chatland. I appreciate it. I am trying to do this and
Well,
trying.
you're doing fantastic, Shay.
Shay, we love you, buddy.
That's right. And we're just going to keep telling you that because none of us want to do it.
Shay needs a big group hug.
You know, what would happen if I went on strike? Dang it.
Hey, look, it's a 1918.
Did your mama ever tell you that when people pick on you, it means they like you?
That's right.
She did. She did tell me that. She said they were just jealous.
It's true. So what was this now?
The email said so let me come back to the screen for just 1 second and say something. Bless his heart, but Rob L about wrote a whole book, an email, 4 emails, and so one of the reasons I've been scurrying around and quiet and doing things is because I've been trying to summarize his emails, but get it right, when somebody asks multiple questions. And anyway, it was a very long email, and I don't mean any disrespect, Rob. I just wanted to shorten them so they would fit on the screen and try to capture what it is you were asking. He did, and I'll ask the panel, if you could go look at the emails with me. There's 4. If you want to read them. I only summarized it and put 1 question there from each one. And this one, of course, came up with, let's do it real quick again. Number 1, I believe this is a planchet error. If this was damaged, then would the piece be sticking out? Would the piece that's sticking out be thicker? And then I'll go to the coin and load that up. And we have a couple like this. So this is just one of them, the first one. There's a couple of pictures.
That piece that's sticking out,
It
how is
looks like it's not. It looks like glue
Yeah, it looks like a
or doo-doo. Something stuck on the coin.
Yeah.
It's
I don't think that piece has anything to do with the lamination error, which that does look like a lamination to me.
It's consistent with the lamination, but not the big piece.
Yeah.
That piece is some foreign object, I believe.
like the part that goes from the O to the left. That looks like lamination, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
the
it even goes up inside the O. It's on the boot stock.
yeah.
That darker circle there, that looks like it's some sort of foreign object that's just stuck to the coin.
It's a
looks like
booger.
a bit of spittle.
Contaminant.
Does
Well,
it looks like a little bit of spittle.
a spittle.
Yes,
Like
it's shiny too. Like
it is shiny. Okay, let's not point it out too much. Doo-doo.
Smell it.
No.
Let's give that a
looking at my window.
Isn't it funny how that song goes if you really think about it? Do,
Door. Yeah, I got
coming
it.
out the back door.
that's some kind of slobber.
Is there another picture?
From Rob L. Planchet error lamination question mark. Number 2. Is
Ew.
there damage?
Okay, what's this?
Ooh,
No, that's not damage. That's a lamination peel.
Yep.
yes, she is.
You can see it stretched all the way up to the L. I mean, all the way up to the like in God area.
Yep.
Right there. You can see the lines going all the way up. That's like the edge. It looks like the edge of a sardine can as it's just being peeled away.
Yeah, it looks like a piece actually fell
They
out.
don't make them like that anymore. Those little keys don't come with them anymore.
Yeah, compare this. It's General Cigar shape to that 1941 we had earlier.
Mhm.
Yep.
We had
Yep.
last week.
Very comparable in manufacture cause.
And the one picture makes it look pretty shiny, like it was freshly peeled.
Mhm.
There was some question about what was going on in the reverse too, but I think that's just scratches to the northwest of one, or is he talking about the left side of the wheat ear? I don't.
That looks like a little bit of struck through going on over there, unless that's just a very faint form of dirt that we're not able to see because of the lack of resolution in the image.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That it's dirt. But that's cool.
Looking at
That's cool.
This is a planchet error on the reverse, and there's a lamination error on the front.
Lamination.
on the reverse.
Lamb.
Lamination.
And lamination on the obverse.
Mhm.
A lot of times you find lamination on one side, there's a decent chance you'll find it on the other side because it has to do with contaminants during the process of rolling the metal into sheets.
And you can actually see on the right side next to T up there that it has a little wood grain.
Now, a lot of times these things don't have a whole lot of value.
Right.
But if you find one that is just really neat, then they can have some pretty decent value. There is a type of split planchet where part of the planchet splits away.
Whole thing's
It is still adhering.
I
They call
have
it a
one.
clamshell
Oh,
because it actually opens up like a clamshell when it's minted.
never adhered.
Those things have some value. So it kind of depends on how pretty it is and how scarce they are. These are actually rather common like this.
Anybody ever watch Revenge of the Nerds?
I collect those, but
112
Starting.
times so far.
for the record, I collect those. I collect large laminations like that. I do kind of dig them.
It isn't that they're non-collectible. It's just
Right.
they have a lot of market value.
Right.
This is the sort of thing, you'll have this on every mint mark, every date, every year. You can put together an entire collection of just lamination errors. And then it starts to become an impressive thing.
Yes.
Not after 1982.
No.
Don't get them after 82. Get
Although you will
the
see
roll
people
marks after.
that you will see people who make claims about that it's no different than because it's copper plating, it can still peel up, but that's completely different. It's not a lamination. It's not the same.
What? What is that?
What?
I don't know. I had to pick it up.
Ramalama,
So
lam bam, ermaloma, lamb town, ramalama.
I'm putting together a Woody set, but I happen to have a number of them that are lambs. I think they're really cool. They add some character for sure.
I think Woody and Lamb are both actually very related to one another
Yeah.
Mhm.
because a lot of times on one you see the other.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the reason I asked about Revenge of the Nerds was because one of the sororities on that movie was Lambda, Lambda, Lambda.
Yes, it was.
Yep.
Lambda, lambda, lambda.
Hey, I'll read this one.
Omega Mu or whatever.
Also from Rob L. Planchet error lamination number 4. There seems to be divots removed from the surface of these coins. I think they are planchet errors. Would this be consistent with an error? Let's find out.
Ugh.
Well, now.
That one, yes. Unless it's got damage on the other side.
And that one.
Yes. That looks struck through.
So these are what's called struck through errors. Some sort of foreign object got in between the planchet and the dies when they were being struck, and it struck the impression of that object into the coin.
And in those cases, it could very well have been a lamination from another coin that flaked off. And
Yep.
Kind of rectangular.
But not spittle.
but not spittle or doo-doo.
Or slobber.
Or slobber.
Little dude and slobber do not leave marks on the coin, at least not permanently. Unless it's a really nice coin and you've been eating cheese puffs. And then that's a different story altogether.
Trey, if that is you messaging me, it is you messaging me. Trey, no, stop
I
messaging.
like to call these struck through scrap.
Okay. Struck through crap? Is that what you said?
Scrap.
Oh, scrap. I'm like, what did you say? Struck through crap.
Paul, I don't know where your mind's at
I
today.
know.
but-
I'm exhausted. It's been a long day.
I got a coin in the mail today, but it was just struck through crap.
Struck through crap. Stop.
Okay, I've got one ready if you're ready.
Yes, sir.
Let me find my way. Okay, there's the screen. There's a question. Hey guys, it's from Coin Junkie. For coin number 2, I have a 2018 quarter that may be doubled on the reverse, and would like to know if the panel agrees and if any reference material is available in regards to this specific variety. Thank you for the show. Look forward to it every Thursday. Aha. God love you.
Yay.
Let's see what we got. I got a coin over here. It's a 2018 Block Island quarter. Handsome piece.
Oh, I bet you he's going to be asking about the NQs.
No, he's asking about doubling, and the place to look for doubling on these is right in the center, right in here. So let's have a look at what he found.
Is that where he's looking? Okay. Oh, it is.
Oh, definitely. Double die.
Mm-hmm.
It's a double die. Let's see if we can zoom in just a little bit.
Hey, Ken,
It's pretty clear anyway. Yep.
let's talk about why we look in the center for those.
Because I've got some toys here. Let me dig.
There we go.
There's a shift.
I've been waiting to force him to break the toys out.
There's a shift.
Of them here. I had them ready.
So while he's getting those ready, I'd like to answer Shay's
One
mother's
job.
question.
What? Who? What?
Well, Shay's mom, Kathy, Shay,
Okay.
she had a question, and I believe that had to do with the struck throughs. So how does that increase the value of this coin? Most struck throughs are not extremely valuable. Those that were shown there, they're relatively minor. They're nice. I keep them. I find them from time to time. But it could literally be a one-off coin. That could be the only one that was struck through that piece of scrap. So, I think that's where the value is. Sometimes it's struck through in a specific spot that kind of has a little glare to it. That may increase the value. But overall, they're not really that much more valuable than a normal coin.
Or if it's retained.
Yeah, now we're talking something different. If it's struck through and the item it was struck through is still stuck in the coin, that's a little bit different. Now you have something special.
Yeah.
From time to time, I'll see struck through a staple, and the staple is still in the coin. Those are very cool.
Wire. I like the wire.
Looks like we've given Ken enough time to get his toys together.
I got toys. Oh boy, have I got toys. I got purple Play-Doh today, and look, it's shaped like a Hershey Kiss.
Oh my gosh. I have no comment.
Like
There's a Hershey Kiss right across the plant from Hershey Kiss plant right across the street from my house.
wow. Okay, when the dies are initially cut, they're left with a conical surface on the top, and this is to scale. Now, the whole idea is they're going to turn that into this, which will actually look this way, believe it or not. They're going to be flat, right? You got this bit around the edge, which is called the rim. What do they call it? The rim trough or trench or something or other. But what happens when the die comes in? It's supposed to be, excuse me, it's supposed to be straight on. But sometimes it's a little bit loose in there, but once you start putting pressure on it, it'll go to straight. Okay, so it's coming in kind of cocked, kind of crooked, and starts to leave an impression. And then the pressure takes over and it snaps into shape. It all at once it moves. Okay. So if I start, I'm going to start to leave an impression right here in the center. All right. But if it shifts, I can see, as the press continues, I'll be able to see sometimes, let's see, a little bit of the first hubbing, the first partial hubbing before it's snapped into shape. And it's going to be small, it's going to be close, it's going to be very subtle, very tiny. And you'll be able to see it, and it's usually placed in the center of the coin. And the hubbing will continue until the die is produced, except it'll say die instead of, because all the coins say die on them. All right. And what do we have on Coin Junkie's coin? We have exactly what we would expect. And where to go? Here it is, which is a little bit of extra metal from the hubbing before the die realigned itself.
There's that term, extra metal.
It's not really extra metal. It's metal that's not in the right place. But yes, it's extra. It's a second impression. It mirrors perfectly the shape of the feather. and it has relief to it. It's not flat. It's not shelf-like. And that's what you're looking for. And it should be in the center of the coin or very close to it. That's why you see a lot of doubled ears, because the ear is oftentimes in the center of the coin. Look for them on your quarters. Look for them on your
Columns, yeah.
pennies, right? On the back of the pennies, you're going to see the memorial. And right in the center is the little statue. And that's where you find a lot of these. And this is going to be on the single squeeze era, which is 1997 onward. All right. And, well, some people call it a class 8. Chuck calls it a class 9 for the reason that it's a different process that now makes the dies. And I buy that story. I eat that up. That makes perfect sense. It's a different process. It must be a different class. And class 9, yep, that is a class 9 doubled die right there. Is there a reference?
As far as the reference material part of it, you're not going to find anything on that. You could send this to Wexler and be credited with the discovery of that coin.
Part of the problem with these is that by type, they are rather common. There's a number of them known by type, being that there's a small amount of the design in the central region of the design of a reverse of a quarter that has some doubling. By die itself, this may be the only one ever seen. And trying to get these listed by the major services such as Kaneka, or trying to send it to the Cherry Pickers Guide and having it given an FS number, they just don't want to muddy the waters of the collectibles with what they consider to be minor and insignificant finds. Whereas people like John Wexler and myself, we don't consider these insignificant finds. If I listed quarters, I would list that die, but I don't list quarters, so it's outside my scope. But I would also recommend John Wexler.
DoubledDie.com.
But expect that you won't hear anything for a while.
I've got Vista on the image here.
I think Wiles is a little bit faster turnaround right now than.
But the problem with Wiles is a lot of times something like that he will consider too minor to list, although he does have some very similar listed already. So,
and I think James is a great guy. I've got nothing to say bad about Dr. Wiles, James Wiles, but I guess I'm going to say something if I'm saying but. The consistency with which he calls something too minor or lists something else is a bit to be desired at times. And I think it's just a matter of, for instance, this particular issue, which I can't remember what it was now. It's one of the quarter issues. If he has reported 10 different double die reverses that are all extremely similar to one another, and you send in one that could be proven as an 11th version, but the 10 were good enough to him, he's just going to start calling them too minor. Whereas if you've got the very first one ever to be reported and it's that exact coin and it's the first one ever listed, he'll list it to show everyone, hey, you can find double dies on the reverse of these quarters. It's really kind of a matter of how many are you going to list to give the idea that they're out there.
Geez, he's got 100 2004 double die on the cents. They got 95 on the 2009 cents.
Yeah.
If his double die number 2 is significant enough to list, this one over here that Coin Junkie sent in looks to be of larger size and of equal prominence.
That's what I think. I mean, that's what I'm looking at.
I would list this.
Yep.
Yeah, I would too if I looked at quarters.
I'm definitely going to look for it now.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Thank you, Coin Junkie.
You don't think that's the same one as that 002, Ken? You've got to rotate your picture. Go to the right.
It's not the same. It's on a different feather.
Yep, the feather on the 002 is this one here. You look at the long feather, and that's this one down here.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So it's on this feather.
I see.
It's
Now
on,
I see.
Coin Junkie, do you mind if we use these images for a database? Just answer in the comments.
This is a nice. It is a nice image.
Yeah, it is.
But I think it's a significant double die.
Huh.
Thanks for sharing, by the way. Cool one.
No, I have seen some doubling on that little church as well.
Wild might be the person to send that in. If he's already got 2 of those listed, he might be the person to send that in too.
It is possible. Yeah. I'm just saying that the level of consistency in what will and will not be listed tends to be waning at times. So it's kind of hard to tell ahead of time what he's going to say yes on.
Yeah.
You were saying something about the church, Shay?
Yeah, I think I might have found some doubling along the top right edge and
That's a lighthouse.
lighthouse. Yes, whatever.
It
Well, it's on a seashore.
It looks like a church.
does.
It looks like a church. Yeah.
Shay's in Texas. They don't have lighthouses.
And there, you don't know what a church is here. They all look like houses. Everywhere I live, I have like 15 churches within a mile, and they all look like different houses. So,
Wow.
Anyway,
What you got for Bill, Shay?
yeah, he had sent another coin, the first one, and I do have that. And he said 68 Kennedy, which he thinks is a TDO variety, but would like to confirm it with the panel. And so I'll bring it up here and show you guys a couple of pictures. I agree with him that it is a TDO. I believe it is in Connect. It would be DDO 002 with tripling on and a little bit of light tripling on In God We Trust. The date and Y in Liberty. And I looked. And you can see some splits on the one as part of the date. You can see some splits up here and in. Of course, the O, you've got your points. So there's some spread going on this. And then the Y has some pretty clear splits. So this is actually FIVA Stanton 101 as well. Same coin. DDO.
Premium on that?
What's that?
Is there much premium on that?
A little bit. Let's see. I think that he has it in a higher grade and in a MS63, $25. MS66, $85 is the in FIVA Stanton in the cherry pickers. So there is a bit of a premium, I'd say.
Okay.
Nice coin.
It is. There's no doubt that it's a triple die. A lot of times tripled and quadrupled dies, instead of going through using the term TDO or QDO, they just say DDO. And even though it's tripled. And in fact, the old Kaneka listing would put a number in parenthesis at the end of the die number if it were more than double hubbed. So if it were a triple die, this would be a 1-0, and then whatever the class would be in this particular case, it would be a 2. So it would be 102, and then there would be a 3 in parenthesis to show that it was tripled. But we'd still call it a double die.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing is that Wiles doesn't have any pictures up there of him. But I should check and see if Wexler has it.
That's probably because of the countless number of hours that a person puts into putting pictures on a website, with a lot of people not really realizing just how much work goes into that. I have hundreds of pictures sitting here now that need to be added to the website that I've not had time to deal with.
And you just said you had put 20,000 picture up.
Yeah,
That's amazing, Chuck.
Over a period of 20 years, there have been about 20,300 photos now put on copper coins.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Good night, Jody. See you
Oh,
later. Have a
right,
good
Jody.
night. Sleep well.
Bye, Jody.
Good night.
All right. We have tons more emails, but I don't have any more ready. So,
Okay.
I don't know. You could leave that coin up for a while. I'll just stare at it. I'm kind of liking it.
Well, I have a little story I'd like to tell if that'll buy you some time.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me get out my picture. Okay, go ahead.
No.
Go
No.
ahead.
Amber asks, has anyone yet figured out why almost all the Kennedy varieties have been pulled from Wexler? No.
Variety Vista.
That's Wiles.
Oh, Wiles.
Yeah.
DV.
He's just not had pictures of them. They're all there, including the master listings. But unless he pulled it in the last 2 days, I wouldn't know what you're talking about. He's got them all listed. He just doesn't have a lot of pictures. He's only got pictures of about 30.
Well, I'm not sure if on the Kennedys any of this is related, but back in the day, we're talking about 25 years ago, when John Wexler split away from Conecuh, he took with him all of the photos and everything that he had done, and basically left Conecuh with the job of rebuilding the listing system. And through the years, James Wiles has been working on trying to rebuild that listing system, sans all the photographs that were taken during Wexler's connection with Conecuh. And Wexler changed all the die numbers on them and made them his own system. And so that's why we have a Wexler system and a Conecuh system that in a number of cases have different die numbers. And James was kind of left a bit out on the lurch with the idea of having to reform everything from scratch. There were a number of die numbers that had been reported in the past that never resurfaced. So he basically had to delete them from the system simply because they never resurfaced again. He asked for a number of years for people to return dies back to him for photography and couldn't get any response. So there could be some of that going on with Kennedy's as well.
No, I had thought there was a different side of that story. When I read about it, it was Wexler that had sold his notes to Conecuh, who then refused to give him back the notes when he decided to come back and add his own website. And so he had been building his from scratch because they wouldn't give him the notes. But that's very different than the story you're telling.
I guess it depends on who tells it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now there's probably a third story, which is somewhere in between and might be the truth.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
So if I could have the table for a minute, please.
Go ahead.
One thing I like to do, I just started doing it recently, is go to the junkyard and dig through cars. Man, it's fun. So I had to go to the junkyard to get some parts for my truck and my car. And while I was there, I figured, why not dig around and try to find some change, right? So I had my oldest boy with me, he's 16, and we had a competition. We each chose a row of cars, and whoever had the most finds or the best finds pretty much just got bragging rights. I was doing great, man. I was finding some good stuff. I got this jar of change. Almost all of it came from one day at the junkyard, 3 rows of cars. My best find ever. I will never duplicate it ever again. I found a 1923D peace dollar in a freaking car, man. I can't believe it. I cannot believe it.
What was the car?
It was a mid-90s GM front-wheel drive. I know that much. Probably, it might have been a Saturn. It might have been a Saturn. But I looked in, and there was a little cubby hole down in the center console. I looked in, I knew right away it was a large dollar coin, but I assumed it was going to be an Eisenhower. and I pulled it out, and it was a 23D piece dollar. That was it. And let me tell you, I was showboating my kid so much too. I was like, game over. I win forever. But I just had to share that. I found a lot of cool stuff, actually. I found transportation token. I found elongated cents. Hell, I even found a chip for a free whiskey, and it just happens to be to a place in the town that I live in or outside of Hazleton. Who knows? I might go get that whiskey.
They'd look at you funny. Yeah, that was 40 years ago.
Yeah, I don't even know if they make these things anymore.
We used to have there was a junkyard outside of town, and at the time I wasn't even thinking about change on the floorboard of cars. I was taking old license plates off of cars because they left the license plates on them when they put them in the junkyard. You could find license plates 20, 30, 40 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was out there with a screwdriver taking license plates off, buying them from the old man for $0.25 a piece and putting them in my garage. And I can't tell you the number of cars from the 40s and 50s I took license plates off of that probably had silver underneath the seats. Didn't even think about it.
Well, the funny thing is, my kid found this old, it was a 1985 Ford Ranger. And this thing was beat. It was just beat. We looked in it, and inside the glove box, there was a rat's nest.
Oh, nice.
So this thing sat in a field for years, you can tell. Around, he's like, you know what, I'm going for it. He goes in the glove box, digs out this rat's nest, and he found the silver quarter and the silver dime. So he thought he had me. And then I pulled peace dollar out of nowhere.
Oh, wow. That is an interesting story.
It was fun.
Jay, you've got an email.
Oh, yeah.
I know they have a small date over large date with an RPM. Mine
So
looks possibly have the overdate, but no RPM. Ideas. I'm assuming we're talking about a 1960 D Lincoln Cent.
Yes. However, for some reason, the last 3 times I've loaded the pictures, it crashed. So hopefully I can get them in here.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Nope. Crashed again.
Is there any way you can do a screen capture and use the screen capture?
Maybe. Let me just load one image at a time and see if it. I'm not sure why it's never done this before.
Could be the file type, or that the files could be corrupt.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me try a different one.
Well, I can answer so far as to say is if this is if it's a 1960 D cent, there's a pretty decent chance you're looking at a normal small date that has some small die breaks in and around the letters and numbers of Liberty and the date. And a lot of times people will mistake those for a large over small or small over large date. But that one is indeed a large date. I don't see any evidence of small date going on there either, though.
Oh, the 0 looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Chuck, I've actually I got a whole roll of what you're talking about one time, and it did fool me a little bit at first.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it will. I mean, it fooled me once, too.
I think this might be.
That's machine doubling.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just, that's where when the coin was ejected, it kind of caught onto the die just as it was ejecting from the die, and it kind of smeared the design a little bit.
Yeah, something was just going on with a couple of those pictures, making it crash. That was weird.
I'm going to work on bringing up a picture.
I got one ready.
Oops. Hang on just a second. Here we go. Oh, wow. Write a book.
Oh, it's a book. It's from, I forget who it's from. Jason. Okay, my dad went to the Vienna coin show recently looking for penny rolls with no luck, but talked to a coin dealer who had sold a 1954 SJ penny 20 years ago for 20 bucks. And we got a picture here what we're talking about. Okay, we never found one either at the time, but joked about it. Crazy part is that a week ago, we actually did find one at a roll. We were really excited. Okay, when I researched online about the coin, I found your post on Coin Forum, and he's talking about Chuck. On Coin Forums 10 years ago, Chuck. I agree that they aren't true errors or varieties, and I was wondering if you personally think it's still a cool thing to find, seeing as they are pretty rare. And then he's got, you ready? 7 questions. And this is the coin in question, and it's called the SJ, and it's a die chip is what it is. You also have some chips on the 9. Okay, question number 1. Let me, wait a minute. Let me get this down to size again. Okay. Does a mint check or monitor pennies as they're being produced to make sure the quality is meeting standards? Anybody want that one?
Oh, I'll take it. They do, but they don't in the way that you would think. They're looking for their utilitarian use as pennies to make sure that the coins are going to spend and stack properly. But they're not looking for little design flaws and things that collectors tend to pick up on.
Is a die crack such as this good enough reason to halt coin production and change out the obverse die?
Not if the coins still come out with a decent design on them and they're stackable. That's the primary use of coins to the mint is, are they, first of all, are they shiny and relatively good looking? Do they stack? And do they have the denomination on them as they should?
I mean, it's not a bad looking penny, really.
Exactly.
She's sharp, she's neat, she's tight, and there's more. Okay, 3. How many of these SJ pennies do you think might have been produced?
Best estimation would be quite a number, but we don't have an exact number. Lincoln cent dies, especially from the 50s, were known to have struck up to 500,000 coins from the inception all the way to the end of life. And we know that this J-shaped die crack came along on these coins rather late in the die's life, as is evidenced by the wear in the design that's left over on the coin. So, for instance, most of the outer edges of the design are very striated and very mushy, and this comes from a lot of wear on the die. Also, dies generally tend to crack as they're getting older. And so this is a very heavily worn die that has a nice size crack on it. So it probably made quite a number of coins like this before it was retired.
Next question. Where should numismatists draw the line on oddity coins? What do you think about a company like Annex that has made its name by slabbing and naming any random RPM or no neck or struck through grease or the like? Does that benefit or kill the hobby?
And here we definitely get into the difference between what is a perceived error and what is a die variety. A die variety is a specific die with specific doubling on it that can be identified to any number of coins that have that specific doubling on them. And an error or a perceived error is like this, where a die crack develops on a die as it's minting coins. Then you have the missing initials coins, where the initials simply wear off of the design on the die. Or you have the floating roof coins, where the edges of the roof of the building wear off as the die is being used. These are simple die wear cases, and they are considered a normal process part of minting coins. Whereas a doubled mint mark or a doubled die as a doubled design on a coin that came from the die with that doubled design on it was supposed to have been inspected and removed from use prior to the die ever minting any coins. So because that die was used to mint coins, there is an oddity there that is in most dies worth collecting simply because it should have been caught prior to minting any coins.
And it should have never happened.
Right. And does it kill or help the hobby? It would kill the hobby for a recognized slabbing company to continually slab a number of things that are not necessarily known to be collectible. However, the market kind of designs its own varieties and errors at times. Like, for instance, the 1922 No D Lincoln Cent. 1922 D No D Lincoln Cents were simply die wear, and it was a matter of the D wearing off of the dies that were already really poorly made dies to begin with, and they're worth a lot of money simply because Philadelphia didn't make any coins that year, and people wanted a Philadelphia mint coin. Well, they got a Denver mint coin without a mint mark on it, and the market suddenly blew up on those. And here we have a coin that's extremely valuable. It has a very minor error on it, very minor. For instance, you take a 1921S and you fill the mint mark on a 1921S and tell me this is a 1921S no S coin. How much do you want to pay for it? Well, I'm not going to give you
43 with the missing 4.
Yeah, it's simply because there was an issue not issued that made that minor error a collectible. Same thing with the 1937 D3-legged buffalo. You got a coin that has a lot of wear on the die that the leg became non-existent because of die polishing or some other activity that caused the front of the leg to become missing. There's no real error there. It's just a matter of over polishing a design to the point where it was no longer evident and it became popular. So the market took over and decided that that was a major error. But you've got a 1970 floating roof Lincoln Cent that has the exact same issue. You've got design elements that are missing because of overuse or over polishing, but there's not any market value on that because it wasn't picked up as one of the major numismatic errors.
It's very common too, where the three-legged buffalo is not so much.
Not so much because it was only one die in the 1970, or a number of different dies. But does it benefit or kill the hobby? I don't think it really does a whole lot of either one. It's kind of it depends on your part of the market and what you like and what you pay attention to.
Yeah.
They're going to feed whatever the collecting public wants. Whatever we decide that they need to do is what they do, because they're only making money on what we tell them to do.
Well, I have noticed also that there's more and more talk amongst people that are starting to collect extreme MD coins because they are under the impression that someday they're going to have value.
And it's another one of those comments about how it has to have value because it sells on eBay.
Mm-hmm.
Coins don't have value because they sell on eBay.
The seller got value, but it's perceived only between the seller and the buyer. It's no, they don't trade often enough to really develop a market. I think things like this are fully collectible. I don't think I would spend $20 on one as was done by, the Vienna coin seller 20 years ago.
Right.
But
next question.
Sure.
Let's see. Do you think this might possibly have an RPM? I don't think so. It's kind of hard to tell. It could be a West RPM because there's a little bit of extra thickness that appears on the left side of the mint mark. But because of the extreme amount of die wear, it would be very difficult to tell even in person if this was an RPM. And while this is a good image, it's just not enough for me to be able to tell anything from. Just because of the wear on the coin, not because of the quality of the image. Or wear on the die, not the coin.
Yeah, we got a rim ridge coming up here. Some level at the side of the floor.
And wouldn't that die chip also cause that metal to flow in that direction off of the mint mark anyway?
Yes. Yeah, to a certain amount it would. And it would kind of swallow some of that metal up that would normally fill the S.
Have you ever found one of these or seen one in person?
Yes. I've found a number of them that look very similar to the one right there. And I used to give them away to collectors because they were neat.
And number 7, what's a comet cent?
Oh, I would keep that one. That one would go into my collection as that's very cool.
I don't happen to have any of them right now. but I have found them in the past. I think I put one up for auction a couple of years ago, and I think it went for like $5.
And Master of Sense is correct. Stuff like that does, when if new collectors find
Night
that
Amber.
stuff and they find that it actually is something and not just damage, then it does kind of light that fire.
Right.
So they are cool.
And there was one other question at the bottom of all that, I believe.
What is
What
a
is
comet?
comments?
And can you tell me a little more about Frank Spadone?
Okay.
What did you find?
Comet scent came from, it was a die scratch in the shape of a comet that was up in God We Trust. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it was a 1965 Lincoln scent that he found this.
Isn't there a Morgan also that has that?
I don't really know. I'm not sure.
Think
It's
there's
very
a Morgan that's called that. One of the VAMs is called Comet.
One of the 1958 Lincoln scents that I just sent out from this past OBW roll reveal from 2 weeks ago was of a die that had a bunch of weird looking die hits in the right field above the date, and it reminded me of the Comet scent. Basically what this was is it was a die scratch that, I mean, it had a head on it and it had a feathered tail just like a comet. And I don't know how many Mr. Spadone found, but he listed it because it was one of the oddities. And this was back in the early days of die varieties when not a lot of people really had a very good idea of what happened at the mint. And so anything that was odd would get listed. And if they didn't find more than one of them, they assumed they were rare and listed them for better money. But nothing was really, really valuable back in those days because it was basically in its infancy. Not a whole lot of people knew a whole lot about the stuff.
Good night, Amber.
Night, Amber.
Yeah, good night, Amber.
Don't forget to talk to her about ordering copper coin shirts because she's real excited about that.
Well, I already told her I want one, so she needs to put me on the list.
But the comet scent, there's a few other ones out there too. There was a feather scent, and it looked a lot like the comet scent, only it was another different date. I think it was a 68. But they're just die scratches or other tooling marks that are left on the dies that have character. And Frank decided to list these things in his book. Was very popular back in the late 60s and early 70s with the book until Kaneka and other collecting clubs came along that kind of cleared up the mud on what was an error, what was a variety, what was a die variety, how are they collectible, how rare are they, how easy are they to find, what are they worth. And by 1981, things had really been cleaned up a lot. And around 1984 is when John Wexler came out with that first book on the Lincoln Scent Double Die. And in 81, he came out with the book on repunch mint marks. And that kind of changed the whole aspect of viewing these minor oddities and what was a collectible oddity and what was no longer considered a collectible oddity. However, collectible and non-collectible only from the viewpoint of a market where you're going to be collecting money for them and there's going to be transactions made. If you're just talking about collecting them, by all means, collect what makes you excited. Collect whatever you want to collect. But just don't assume that everyone else is going to think the same thing.
So I did find that Morgan dollar. It's the 1890 VAM 10. It's the Comet variety. Now I'm looking at it and I don't know what they're talking about, but
okay.
I'll just copy this link and
probably somewhere. Let me know when you got it on screen.
yeah, I'm gonna put it. I'll put it in. I'll put it in the private chat too if you want to pull that up.
Okay.
Or somebody. But I'm not seeing what it is. But let's see if it says anything.
What you making, Ken? Are you prepping for something, or are you?
I'm just playing, man. I got some Play-Doh. I got some parts. I got some fun.
So you're getting bored and drifting off, right?
I'm listening.
View more images.
I do have another email ready.
All right, Shay.
All right, 1953. Is this a thick planchet? 3.28 gram planchet.
I'm going to tell you before I even see it that it's probably plated.
Comet variety. Oh my gosh, I don't know what they're talking about. I still can't find it. Oh, it's down by the date. It looks like it. Yeah, it's down by the date. It looks like it's like a die clash, maybe.
No.
No, it's die gouges. It looks like die gouges.
Right. That's usually what they would be.
Down by the date. Is that what they're? Are you looking at it, Christopher?
Yeah, Paula, take a look on reverse.
Because I'm looking at the date on. They've got 3 images that have the exact same gouge on the obverse, but on the reverse where?
I was looking right above the O in one. Right above.
That looks like a die clash above the.
Yeah, I think it's a die clash. I'd have to go on Vam World and look at it to see what they're listing it as.
Look at the obverse. If you go to more where it says view more images and click on that, there's like the last 1, 2, 3 images down by the date have the same like die gouge, but I don't see it on the first one there, Sean.
On the Morgan, it's on the 1 over the O on 1.
Well, what are those 2 die gouges by the date?
Those would be doo-doo again.
Yeah, I don't see anything.
Doo-doo.
You guys, show me what you're looking at, because you're not looking at the same pictures I am now.
Oh, I was looking at the 90 O VAM that was posted.
Yeah, the link you posted, Paula.
Yeah, but go to on the very okay. Let me. I'll post this one for you guys, and you can. It'll show that I'm looking at different images than you are because I clicked on view more images. So look at that. Look at that page that I just. Looks like maybe it's going to send you to the same one.
Coin fact page.
Still see the other. Oh, okay. They see you now. Good. All right.
Yeah, I'm still seeing that thing above the O in 1.
But are you only seeing one picture?
Okay. Now, Paula, I do see what you're talking about as well. Yeah.
On the 3, yeah.
Those almost look like feeder finger die gouges.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know if that's what. I don't know.
Probably.
I just saw. I remembered seeing something about it a little while ago. A Morgan Comet variety. So when you guys talked about that, I just thought I'd bring it up. Don't ask me why. I just do these things.
Yeah, I would have called that feeder fingers.
So it looks like to me.
And it's an exact same place on 3 of the coins, but on one of them it doesn't have anything there. So I don't know.
Well, what about that clash-looking thing above the O in 1?
Yeah.
I mean, I would imagine that's some
But
sort of diamond.
typically they don't give like just the die clashes on the VAMs names like that. That's why I was looking for something unusual because I mean, you can find die clashes.
I've seen other Morgans.
Every Morgan is a VAM, but that's just because that's the people that numbered the whatever. Van Allen Malus, right?
Van Allen Malice, yeah.
Yeah, Malus.
Now, I've seen other Morgans that had the die cracks all along the stars.
Yeah.
And some of those are pretty drastic. They look more like a comet than that thing does, but
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't know if the 2 were somehow related as far as like where it was or what it looked like or what, but
this coin almost looks broad struck.
The Lincoln cent we're looking at now?
Yes.
I see a
Well,
duck.
I said plated before we came in to the coin, and it doesn't, if it is plated, it doesn't look plated enough to add any weight to the coin because the details look right. They look of the right consistency. The surface looks right on the coin. Although it looks like it could be cleaned or environmentally damaged, it does not look plated to me.
I see a die crack on the left wheat.
I see that too.
Hey, Jessica has some cool can varieties. Cans of catfish bait.
Oh God. Oh, did you see her post about the rotten Sham or Shad or whatever it was in the back of the truck.
Who was this?
Jessica, who do you think?
Oh well, yeah, we're talking about catfish bait.
Catfish,
Who else would we be talking about?
right? I did see that cool Volkswagen though picture that you posted, Jessica. That was pretty awesome. Somebody,
That 53, I'm really unsure what to tell you about it. I'd like to see a picture of the two of them stacked together on the edge so I can see how thick the coin is.
if I have a new DR.
Because if it's off weight, it could be struck on an incorrect planchet.
Hey, Ken happens to have a book that tells you what it might be.
Yeah, but I'll never find that thing. It's buried.
You just got it.
Yeah, I know,
He
but
just had it out a couple of days ago.
I got the coins in. And then I had to move everything.
Hey, what do you guys think of my American flag here that CJ printed for me?
No, don't. Oh, you're lucky.
Dang cool, huh?
That is cool. I don't know why he doesn't sell that stuff.
I actually had him print me two. They're actually these. This is what they look like. And when I saw it and saw that it was translucent and had these spaces, I thought, oh my gosh, I could pour resin in there. So that's what I did. But it was a little bit more difficult than I thought it was going to be. So the reason spaces are so light right here, and I probably have resin all over my fingers and spray foam and everything else, but is because there's nothing here like a stop to prevent the resin from pouring out. And I couldn't put anything in this space because everything that resin touches, it sticks to. So, and then it kind of leached out into the blue kind of leached out into the red, but it still came out pretty cool. If he could print one that had like a border right here on these, even maybe further in a little bit of a ridge, man, those, I could pour the crap out of those. But it was fun. I liked it. I liked doing it.
It looks good.
But I figured, I had these that he did from the UK. So I'm like, I need something American.
Ah, the shield. Yeah.
I love that. I do love that. I love
Hey,
the
what's up?
I do too, Kathy. I love the red, white, and blue too.
You ready for me?
Yes,
Nope. Yes.
All right.
sir. I'm hosting this year's show.
Wondering, hello everyone. I'm wondering if I have a new DDR on this 1939 S Lincoln Cent. The U and S on the E pluribus unum looks suspect. What do you guys think? And one of the pictures crashed again, but I got all the others. I think it's going to be enough. To say I don't see any doubling.
Yeah, I don't either.
I'm seeing what could possibly look like a little bit of extra thickness on that US, but at the same time, it tends to appear also to be a little flatter than the other letters, which means that we're basically looking further down the trapezoidal bevel of the letters, where it would be thicker by nature. Because all the letters on a coin are a platform that have a trapezoidal shape. I'm sure Ken could help us out with that. If he gets his Play-Doh out, he could show us with trapezoid and maybe some.
Somebody buy Chuck some Play-Doh for crying out loud.
I need another camera too, because the one doesn't do very well for that. But I'm thinking that what we're looking at here is likely a rather soft stripe that didn't fill the U and the S in completely. Because of that, we have a little bit of thickness that appears to possibly be distended doubling, but it is not. Come on, Ken, I put you on the spot. How slow could you be?
Okay, here's what I need a knife. Okay. If you're gonna squeeze a die onto a coin, that thing's gonna be able to let go. Now, if the sides of the letters are straight up and down, like say a brick, No, baby, it's never gonna let go. So if you look at the side of the profile of these things, and where's my knife? I had it, there it is. Okay, I'm gonna cut that end off. Just like that. Look, it's like sliced bread.
Somebody's gonna get hurt.
I'm okay. I do not do this at home. We are professionals. This is what you're going to see in the shape of that coin. The sides, they're not perfectly straight up and down, or it'll never let go of that die. It's wider at the base, thinner at the top. Let me give another cut so I can get a shorter profile. So it would look like, say, a D sort of shape, if you will. If I were to slice that letter right down and flip it over on the side like a slice of bread, it's going to be able to let go. Now, if it doesn't fill the die quite completely, well, it's going to be a little shorter up here. All right, a little bit shorter. Still going to have some edge to it, some sloping, right? A little shorter still. Still has a little bit of sloping, right? It's a necessary part of the design. You have to have it, or you'll never get the. Dude, you will take this and fuse it. It will become one. You see me, sometimes I have trouble getting this thing to let go. Of course, I can't do it right now because I'm trying to show you. But I squeeze that thing in and it ain't letting go. You can't do this if you're going to produce 10 coins per second. It has to be able to let go. There it is. That's what you get. You get shape, you get profile, you get slopes.
And so when you cut the top of that off, the top becomes thicker. And then if you cut more of the top off, it becomes even thicker. And then as you go down into the relief from a cross section, your letters get thicker and thicker as the strike gets weaker and weaker, which is why letters look thicker when you don't strike them as well.
That's right.
Very much for that
I can
graphic
take
illustration
put them back together
of how to build an AT&T logo from scratch.
It's Pepsi.
Pepsi, that's right.
Choice of a new generation.
That's right.
There it is.
Wow.
Of course, the new generation doesn't even know that slogan.
Oh my God.
That was 1984, Ken.
Are we dating ourselves?
Yeah, pretty much. All right, thank you so much. Shay?
Hello, everyone. I found something rather interesting on this 1957D nickel from an OBW roll. Is this die gouges or die trails on states on the reverse?
Leave it there for just a second. I want to address this. There may be people in here who do not know what OBW means. OBW means original bank wrapped, which essentially means a roll that is rolled from its original state in the year that the coins came out. So this is a roll that was put together, crimped on the ends in 1957. That's all that means. It doesn't mean that it has to be from a specific bank or anything else, but this was an original roll, an original source roll directly from a bag that was wrapped back in 1957. Okay.
Well, of course, I had the wrong picture in focus.
So I'm kind of wondering, what are we looking at there? Oh.
He said on states.
I kind of missed the question. Oh, we're looking. Okay, the striations there.
Yeah, the question was, is this die gouges or die trails?
I'm going to be inclined to say it's die gouges.
Yeah.
It's a little bit grainy.
Yeah.
Well, don't die trails normally go towards the rim and not away?
Yeah.
No, not necessarily.
It's a result of polishing.
Yeah.
So they're going
Die trails typically only follow the sharp edges of the letters, like
The letters,
as
right?
well.
Is
like the corners where an abrasive would get caught up and then dragged out.
Yeah.
are these?
They appear to be pretty sharp.
Oh, those are close up of the T.
Yep.
Yeah, the S and the T.
Okay.
So that's a deep groove in the die.
Yeah. And I agree with what everyone else is saying with regard to the over polishing being what causes the dye trails. Those are caused by, just try to imagine taking a broom and sweeping the corner of a box, and the bristles drag over the edge of that corner. Now imagine that those bristles can actually damage that cornered edge and come out of the box, dragging parts of the corner with it. You're going to get a trail. You're going to get where the bristles brush that one corner area more than anything around it because of the direction the walls of the box are forcing the bristles. This does not look like that. So this to me, this is not trail dyes.
I agree. I think these are feeder finger dye gouges as well.
I got BJ's website up right now.
I guess I'm having a hard time because extreme polishing can cause dye gouging.
Well, it does, but it looks different from what this is. The result is different. I'm not saying it doesn't cause it.
I don't see a bunch of polishing marks here.
Right. I'll show my screen here. This is
That's a trail.
this is what you get. This is what they call trail dyes. And this, you can see all of the trails are coming off of places that have lines that run parallel to the area of the trail itself. So like you can see, it's coming off the center of the P headed to the southwest, and then the lower part of the P headed to the southwest. All of them are headed in the exact same direction. All of them are rather soft in appearance, and all of them trail away at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas what Shay is showing here, these are very sharp at the end. They're very sharp in formation, and they don't come directly off the corners of anything. Especially in that one close-up photo that he was showing earlier of the S and the T.
Yeah.
They're very sharp, and they don't come directly off the corners.
And that one down lower on the T looks like it actually comes off at an angle and then goes up.
Right.
You see that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Which that does not follow the characteristics of a trail dye. So given that it doesn't follow the characteristics of a trail dye, what is it? Well, I mean, it's obviously raised on the coins, so it's some sort of dye damage. And generally what we're talking about with regard to dye damage like this would be dye gouges caused by some sort of tooling. So it's not a whole lot different from trail dyes, but they're not trail dyes.
I concur.
Okay.
You're left with gouge.
Another thing to point out, you had BJ, whatever page you had up, Chuck.
BJ? Yeah.
Yeah.
BJ
those trails can also be seen on the flat field areas of the coin, not coming from any of the letters because, you know, they are basically from dye polishing. So can you bring your screen back up?
Yeah, let me find one that actually I left the page, so I'm coming back to it.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, it's okay. That's all right. Let me go back to the homepage there. I was looking for one particular one, and I had left that page.
Well, the one that you did have up did show what I was looking for a little bit. It's hard to see, but up above the E and P in the flat field areas,
Right here.
Yes, you can still see evidence of that polishing.
Right here.
Mm-hmm.
It's a directional thing. Everything goes in this direction. It all follows the same plane. And where it becomes heavier is where it's coming out of the corner of things like this right here. and then right over here,
Mm-hmm.
and then here off the dot, here off the dot, here off the corner of the end. They're coming out of corners.
And the only tricky part would be on the letters such as E, P, R, and B, where it's coming out what appears to be the flat edge of the left side of the leather,
Right.
but it's always in conjunction of a corner to the right of that flat edge, if that makes sense.
Well,
The middle of the B.
the coming off the B
Yes.
to the I, kind of interesting. I mean,
This right
Yeah.
here.
yeah.
But if you look at the R,
That's
you have
because of
the
this area, and it's
word.
polishing out and coming out here.
Yep.
It's coming out here like that. It's
Yeah.
coming out here and out here. It's coming out of any place that has a line going in this direction. It's those bristles are gathering as they come off the letter.
Right.
Yep.
Because you have to imagine on a die, these are cavities. And if you really think about it, I mean, I guess one analogy to use for how these appear is if you're from the northern tier of states and you've ever been in a windy snowstorm, after the windy snowstorm, this looks like drifting snow.
Or sand. I've seen that on the sand.
Wind blowing in one direction.
Mm-hmm.
Are they? Could they be sandblasting the die?
No, sandblasting wouldn't create. You actually have to drag the molecules of steel in order for this striping to happen. And sandblasting isn't going to drag them.
That's gonna bounce them up.
That's true.
Picture a polishing wheel or a buffing wheel that you would use to wax your car.
Precisely.
Same concept. It's spinning, it's rotating, and it's spinning in one direction. And
I believe what they used was a Dremel tool with a soft bristle head on it that would rotate very quickly, like a dentist tool.
Yeah,
And
they
they actually-
use the rotary.
They would start it up and run it across the die, and it would end up doing this if they overdid it. And my contention is that what we see here is unrelated to that.
Yeah.
It just doesn't look the same.
Right. I'm convinced. For sure.
Gosh, I think it looks just the same. I'm not having a hard
Now,
time.
Shay, can you click on a different picture of that T? One that's less zoomed in?
Yeah. How about this one?
There you go.
Oh, do you see how the big one in the middle of the T, it's not really originating from any sharp corner or edge. It's coming right off the flat part of the T.
Yeah, but a lot of those in E pluribus unum are coming out of the middle
No,
too.
they're not. None of them are. Every single one of those can be traced to a corner and I mean, we tried to explain it, and it is hard. I get it. It's very hard. This one confuses you because you have one coming right off the A, the corner of the A. But if you would take that one away and just look at the other ones that are left, they're random. They're just coming off the flat edge of the top of the T. There's really no corner there.
That, and also these are very sharp in nature. If you look at the edges of them, they almost look like die cracks. They're so sharp on the edges. And if you look again at the E pluribus unum that I have up right here, you can see how soft those are. They almost look like they're wisping.
Now, Paula, can you pick one out maybe that you think is not coming from a corner on the EPU on the
Yeah,
sand?
go back to it.
You're gonna say this one?
Bottom of the U.
Which one?
The
On
bottom of the U?
Yeah,
Right here?
yeah.
This?
Yeah.
That's because you have an avenue of area running east and west right here that it kind of dragged out of on the southwest. The same thing as the corner here. Same thing as this one also has the same thing. Imagine dragging a toothbrush across this, and your bristles will follow that channel for so long. But when they get to the edge of where they can follow that channel, they're going to snap out in a group. And they're going to flow in their natural direction, which would be southwest. So they're going to follow along. You're going to follow along. Then it's going to snap out and go this way. It's going to go along, then snap out and go this way. And you're going to do that with a group of bristles because you're going to have a whole bunch of bristles that go inside that U area, and they're going to come out in a group.
Yeah.
I need to do a video of this at some point. I need to find someone that's got a soft buffing wheel that I can actually show with a tool, put a screwdriver in a buffing wheel and show how it moves those bristles around, and it will give you an idea of how this is formed. And it will kind of illustrate to you how unrelated this is.
My problem is I'm terrible at explaining stuff. I get it, and
The only picture we have of it.
Yeah, I'd want to look under.
Of which, the nickel or the penny?
No, this one that showing right now.
Okay.
Those are the only two we got. Okay.
Notice how it also goes up along above the V in 5.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah. Move along. I just have to wrap my head around it. I'll read on it. I'm exhausted, so I'm just not, my brain's not working, but I'll read about it. I understand what you're saying though, Chuck.
Okay.
I do understand. And I see the difference, but
Well, traildies.com is actually a good place to go look at a whole bunch of images of this effect.
yeah.
And see what it looks like.
No,
And-
I got some. In fact, Frank sent me a really, really nice one on a Lincoln scent. So I actually have one I can look at myself.
There's a listing for a nickel. And you can see again how soft those trails are
Yeah.
and how they match a field of die scratches running in the same direction.
Yeah.
What's up next?
Wish I could do more.
Ken, you got one ready?
Sorry, guys, in chat. I didn't want to take so much time. But
It's all fine. We're all here to learn.
I know. Sometimes certain things don't want to register.
What RPM number is this? And does your example show the die markers by the mint mark? It would help me to know what year this is. It appears it could be 1959.
1957.
Okay, I'll tell you what. We will move on to another question. I will look for this because I do not, contrary to popular belief, I do not have them all memorized. And I will look for it and we'll come back to it. So let's go on to Shay. And we'll look at that and then we'll come back to that 57 cent.
Quarter belongs to a friend.
That is heat.
Oh, baby. Lots of heat.
Nastified.
That was in a house fire, man.
Yeah.
And then cleaned. Important to note that because coming out of whatever heat did that, it would be black.
See the pits over the left in front of his nose. That says I've been cleaned.
And the color Chris is referring to would be from soot from the fire.
Yeah, that baby was thrown at a campfire.
So I see what that one on Variety Vista. Let me see what yours is, Chuck. I think it's 009 on Variety Vista. I'm stuck on the RPM now. Sorry. You can't do that to me. And just move along.
Squirrel.
Oh man. So which one do you have on that one? So you have it as 009 also.
Do I?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so we have a house fire coin.
I'm not looking.
I'm not agreeing with that die.
No, I think the one we're looking at is a little further to the right.
Well, now you've moved along, so I have no idea because I just got a glimpse of it.
Oh, okay. We'll go back to it. Wait a minute. Weak edge modern dollar coins. Okay, last email so far. I found a lot of interesting stuff this week on dollar coins. How can you tell if you have a weak edge coin? I can't find a whole lot of information on the subject. Any help would be greatly appreciated.
I don't even remember.
I'll be listening in on this one because I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'll take this one.
Gosh, where was I?
So here's another one of those things that you'll find. So what happened was the George Washington dollar came out and it was missing edge lettering. So there's a couple things going on. These coins go through, boy, I can't remember the term of that specific type of die that rolls on the edge of the coin. But they go through a specific process that basically forces these images into the edge of the coin. Now, if it's missing the edge lettering, that's one thing. It's easily identified because the edge will still be gold in color. If you look at this edge here, you'll notice that there is a variation in color from the left side to the right side. And that is basically wear. So these coins get used primarily in vending machines, and that wears the edges out very quickly. And when I look at this coin, I see weak letters, and I also see a color variation. So that tells me that this coin has been used most likely in some sort of vending machine, and the edge is actually getting worn down.
There it is.
They would call weak tops or bottoms tilted edge lettering.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know how that could happen at the mint.
Would that be called an edge mill?
Yeah. Once again, if you look at this picture, the right half of the coin, a little less than half, you see one color. The left half, you see another. That's the cladding wearing off of this coin.
Or
Yeah, this one looks scraped down. You find a lot of people will do this. Now, this one and this one, I think, are the Sacagawea, which don't have the edge lettering.
Correct. So the date, well, no, this one will.
Oh, this is a newer one, yeah.
Man, I mean, I see evidence of something there. So it was clearly, it clearly went through that edge mill.
Now, you could probably weigh it and see if this one, I mean, this one's obviously been well circulated. All of these have. So, you know, I would suggest weighing, because if you take off that much metal on the edge intentionally, it would probably weigh less than a normal coin. But I don't know if that's a surefire way to tell whether it's been damaged. I mean, you could look at it under a microscope and see the striations of it being removed.
I think the tolerance and the weight would be more than the amount of metal removed.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I think these are one of those. I would put these with the Black Beauties, unless you're pulling this out of a BU roll. I don't know if you're ever going to be able to truly tell on a circulated example if it was missing the edge lettering or if it was worn off. It doesn't go very deep to begin with, and some are weaker than others. But these that I see here, I wouldn't take a second look at them personally.
It just surprises me that there's dollar coins like that out there that have enough wear to remove the metal on the sides of the coin, even through machines.
Yeah, but I mean, that there puts a lot of wear on the edges going through the vending machines because that's how they read what coin it is. They put pressure on the coin.
Yeah, but by the fact that you can see letters on here, I think that this has been altered. Like, seriously, I don't think you'd see this much damage on a normal missing edge lettering coin.
Nope. One neat thing to note about these is there is type A and type B lettering, and basically all that is the orientation of the lettering versus obverse and reverse of the coin.
Yeah, they have no control over whether the coin comes in facing up or down. So
Right. Yep. But some people want to have type A and type B. Both are, neither one is more valuable than the other.
Right.
Now, with that being said, there are some really good edge lettering errors to look for. Ken Potter posts these once in a while. There are doubled edge lettering. Those are really neat because it's not what you think of a normal doubled die. Around the edge of the lettering is E pluribus unum, the date, and the mint mark. There may be something else too. I don't remember. But if these go through that edge mill twice, there's really no way to determine rotation of the coin. So you can have some really drastic doubling on the edges of these. Does he have those in his book?
he does. This is a great book for you guys to have. It covers a lot of different varieties. I would definitely suggest it. And he does have quite a bit of coverage on these dollars. Let me scroll down to it. I would not say that there's a very advanced index or table of contents, but there we go. It talks about position A and position B. And then there's shifted edge lettering, missing edge lettering, tilted, and this is where you get the weak lettering on the top or the bottom. Partial and none. Oh, wouldn't that be nice? And these can go for significant premium. Talking, look at these numbers he's got here.
That's funny because I have a George Washington one graded 66 and I couldn't even give it away for $20. So I kept it.
I managed to get 50 out of one.
Really?
Yeah, it was a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Mine was recent.
I do have all these listed on my list on my on Mantic Coins. I do have a dollar list up, and all those are listed. In case you want a list of them.
Awesome.
Let's see.
Who has a question? Who has an email up?
I got one ready.
You got one ready? Let's
Yeah.
see what you got.
Okay, let's find it. Okay, I couldn't get the pictures easily, so this is from Nose Picker, a numismatic picker, excuse me.
Oh, sorry.
1956, and he says it's pretty cool coin. It's a 1956 Franklin Type 1. Looks to be cami or deep cam. I picked this out of a set of my LCS I work at. The guy works at an LCS. I also got 3 1956 sets, all with Type 1. Okay. Franklin half dollar. Frosty for sure. I'd say it's not quite cameo. You need to get that frostiness across the entire coin. Across the entire device. And I get some spots that are a little bit weaker in the frost. But it's definitely sharp. And he's saying it's Type 1 there. We're going to look at the bird. Okay, here's the bird. Karnika's got a bunch of photos over here. Different design varieties for the reverse on the Franklin $half series here. Now, in 1956, you see this one is written in red because it's supposedly scarce. And this one is black. It's the normal expected design. Notice the difference in the sharpness of the bird here. You can pick out the feathers pretty easily. This one's kind of soft. Okay, that's the first one that came out. That's a type 1. It's
Also the number of feathers.
Yeah, the number of feathers on the left side wing.
1, 2, 3. Up here, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Big deal right there. That's an easy one to pick out. So we can look at his, and boy, it's hard to see this, but 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's got 5 feathers on that. Is that right?
Yep, that's what it looks like to me.
So 5 feathers says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That says type 1.
Yep.
That's your bad boy right there. Reverse design variety 001B. Yeah, and it's scarce. Keep an eye out for these. This is cherry picking at its finest.
I agree with you, but there's cherry picking at even finer level.
Oh, they're a wonderful level.
But he's 14.
This kid's 14 years old. That is a fine level.
That is awesome. But the finer level is this. I want to give you a pointer. The 1956 proof sets that have the type 1 Franklin $half also stand a good chance of having a double die reverse on the Lincoln cent. This is a 1956 proof Lincoln cent. Look at the doubling on the reverse here.
Mm-hmm.
If you find the type 1 proof sets with the type 1 Franklin, be sure to check the reverse on the Lincoln cent.
I don't think he's even looked at that.
That's my hidden tip for you today.
He's going to be looking at that for the next 15 minutes.
He's gonna go. He's looking right now. I guarantee you.
These are scarce and valuable.
It looks like the C in America looks to be.
Oh yeah, there it is on the E and the R on America. It basically goes across the entire states in America on the right side, and the unum on the right side has doubling too.
I would love for him to come back right now and say that he has it.
There's what the lower half of the design looks like.
Christopher,
What?
give him 5 minutes and he'll send me a message.
Yeah.
Have you been hearing that ding, 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 ding?
Yeah.
That's Trey.
Trey.
Oh, so this is Trey we're talking about?
Yeah, Trey. Put some gloves on, Trey.
Our little Trey. Oh no, he doesn't wear gloves anymore.
Trey, listen to me. Wear gloves.
Oh my God.
Jessica's
Third party.
new car.
Catfish beetle.
It's in a mint packaging, I'm sure. So
He's holding it in his hand.
because
He's holding it by the edge.
because we've been told that the third party grading companies don't wear gloves, so he doesn't wear gloves anymore.
Okay, and look how your skin folds are folding over the O and the L and dollar, and the skin fold over the field on the edge between America.
Having an OCD moment.
Tried telling him that.
Wow. Coming from us, it really must be OCD.
I got a little bashed for telling him that on Facebook.
You know, I have found beautiful silver proofs that I don't buy because the edges like that have the little bit of
Not bad.
fingerprints on them.
Uh-oh.
I have seen oils and stuff leach out.
Okay, now what Ken has is probably milt value, maybe, unless it's a variety.
No, I wouldn't buy the edge.
But it's very well circulated too, and has seen circulation all of its life. What you're holding in the other picture is a proof
Stop!
and it's never been touched out of a package.
He's messing with your OCD, Shay.
No,
It's probably already been cleaned.
that doesn't bother me. It's on a nice shiny proof that would.
Ken, lick it. Lick it. Yeah.
Handling the coin by the edge is better than this. All too often you see, what's this worth? Oh, God.
Yeah.
Get out the pliers, Jeffrey.
Consider
If
when
you're
you're
looking
going to handle it and take pictures that a card comes in so darn handy. Gosh, it's so darn handy. You can carry it, move it around. I flip these over with a piece of paper. Ta-da, especially the proofs. Real easy. Boink. I don't get my fingers on it.
I want you to show
Inner
me.
markdowns in proof
Minimize
sets.
the contact because it's going to leave a mark. It's just as good as that. It's going to leave a mark, especially been eating cheese puffs. It's going to be an orange, fuzzy mark. There you go. Look,
Okay, you talk me into eating my snack.
move it over here. Look, I can pick it up, lower it down. I can put it under the scope and take pictures, and I'm not handling that coin. I can move it around, so now the coin is not being abraded on the surface of the camera down here. Let me show you this here. There it is.
right.
I can move this coin around, and I don't have to put my fingers on it ever. Pretty slick. Try it out. You can get these cards. They're, I don't know, 2 feet by 30 inches up at Walmart for $2.50, $3, and just cut it. It's
This is fine. We're falling slowly.
real handy.
If you have an old mouse pad, you can just glue it to a.
You know, these are so darn handy.
And
Really?
and the coin sticks.
Same darn thing.
Yep.
I was really enjoying the panning effect. For a second, it looked almost
Yeah,
professional.
we were falling with grace. We're not flying, we're falling with grace.
I can't do a thing with this thing. It's time to replace it, I think. Those are found in proof sets. They're only found in Trey's proof sets, apparently.
Right.
Probably.
Okay, by now he's looked. Any results, Trey?
No, he's still looking.
Face.
He's still trying to figure out how to see it through the.
Get in trouble for now.
But if you're handling the
I
thing,
haven't gotten a message.
oh, what do we got? I know.
Trey,
I've got a flip.
you've looked at it too quickly.
And I can wipe my fingers, and we can see the doo-doo. My hands are clean. Look how clean they are. That ain't clean. Let's look at
I
that.
think doo-doo and clean work together in the same sentence.
There, we got doo-doo on that holder. See, look, can you see that fingerprint?
Ooh, is that hair?
Oh,
Give me
gosh.
take a screenshot of that and send it to the FBI.
There it is. I can never get a job again. Yeah, you put that on your coin, and it's going to change color. It'll take time, maybe
I don't know why.
weeks, a couple of months, a couple of years.
My inner brain went straight to Biore strips.
But the
Oh,
mark,
my God.
Oh, I love those. I
Jay is waiting very patiently with a coin.
actually did my whole face one night on Blue's channel in one of those black charcoal masks, and I didn't think I had any skin left on my
Did you
face.
scream like a little girl?
Indeed I did, and my grandsons were getting a kick out of ripping it off too.
Oh, great.
Let's see. Adam says the 1982D small date penny. Did I find the rare small date penny? It's overweight on my scale.
No,
Overweight meaning, well, it's a zinc coin. I can tell you that because of the damage,
right.
the spots on
Yep.
the coin.
Whoa.
3.49.
Your scale needs calibrating.
Yeah.
Your
Plus,
scale is way off.
okay. Plus, you got to know you cannot weigh things on a tiled counter. You have to have it on a flat surface, and that's probably what's going on with this, Adam. You need to put it on a flat surface, and you need to get a 1 ounce weight or calibration. I think it's 100 grams. And you can usually get those at places you get the scales from, or you can buy a scale with the weight. So
Does he have a picture of the reverse?
let me see. Yeah.
he didn't send in a 1982D.
What?
Well, somebody did.
Somebody did.
It's not Chambers coin.
Did I screw up the order here? Hold on.
Could be.
Oh, it's Jason Wilder. Oh my gosh. Sorry, guys. Sorry, Adam.
Well,
Jason.
Yeah, he owes you one too.
Good Lord.
Tonight's episode of Saturday Night Live was brought to you by Brim's Barbecue Pork Rinds.
It's Saturday Night Live.
Who's got pork rinds?
I do.
Oh, shut the front door.
Adam, you sent so many. There you go. Jason Wilder.
Redemption.
Yeah, that's definitely a normal zinc scent because of the color and the damage on the coin. And it is a face value item, unfortunately so. It is a small date, though. We'll give you that much. It's a small date coin.
You know, I even see a little. I see a little zinc blister at the very top of the 8, the top loop of the 8.
There's zinc blisters all over the place on that coin. You can kind of see them, especially where they've already begun to turn green, like up on the rim at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, I bet it made his heart stop though, because we're all.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the 1982 set is the greatest purple unicorn hunt of all time. They're looking for a 1982 D small bait, much like this, but in copper. Okay, so it needs to be 3.11. And he's got 3.49, but we got a lot of problems with this. It's 3.49, but it's clearly zinc. Let's question the scale. So far, out of the 10 billion produced, or some darn crazy number,
Largest number in the history of the Lincoln cent.
Yeah, 2 have been found. 2.
Grand total of 1, 2. That's fewer than one hand.
So the hunt is on for the 3rd one, and yeah, they're good money if you can find it. You do better to go get a part-time job if the cash is the thing. You would get more value for the time put in, because the chances of finding number 3.
All right, so he says he didn't find it. It's on eBay, and he wanted to hear what we thought.
Oh,
Don't buy it.
Don't buy it.
don't buy it.
Buy away. Not
I
Carl.
couldn't imagine what they're offering it for.
As a matter of fact, I'll take that one step further. Don't ever buy anything from that seller ever.
Yeah.
We have found sellers. We cruise eBay late at night. A few of us, we get together on these streams. We tear it apart, and we find seller after seller where every single thing they have is bogus in some way. They're overgraded, overpriced. The quality is off. They got holes in them. Every single one of them's a fake. Some say copy right on them. Oh, no good. They've been cleaned. They've been scorned by us many, many times. Dude, it is tough. There is no vetting on eBay. We have this group we take care of over on Facebook, several of us, and we vet the sellers. And even then, we vet the coins that they list for sale. And we want to know who they are, what their return policy is, how they take payments. We scrutinize every single aspect so nothing bad gets through. And still on occasion, we get a little funny one here and there.
We get a lot of complaints of
Yep.
people finding raw deals basically on eBay, and there's really nothing anybody can do about it.
Well, if somebody lists a variety without an attribution number, do not buy it. If somebody lists a double die and says it's a double die, do not buy it. If somebody lists a variety or an error that you cannot identify yourself and verify that it is in fact what that person says it is, do not buy it.
Really, if you don't know what you're buying, if you can't verify it for yourself, if you can't determine what the coin is and identify it accurately for yourself without reading any description,
Right.
it's a good idea not to buy that coin.
At least if they put an attribution number next to the listing, you can look that up yourself and see if it matches. But you kind of have to know a little bit about what you're looking for. I mean, unless you're buying from, you know, one of these guys. And there's a few other people, but just
Every once in a while, we get lucky enough to get one of those eBay sellers in the group, and we get to call them out in person.
Hey, you stuck.
Oh, that gets heated.
They tend to be very quiet, though. They know better.
They do.
What we got here, Shay?
We have a question from Sean Craven. No images or coins.
Okay.
Anybody want to take it?
I'll do it. A lot of nickels are not marked in some websites for errors, but do I need to submit all my coins to Brian's VarietyCoins.com, and Variety Vista doesn't have any listings? Is there any other listings to check on the web? Thank you. Okay, so we're talking about Brian Rybar and his Variety Coins website, and we're talking about Variety Vista, and we're talking about new, he's calling them errors, but they're actually die varieties that are not listed in either of those places, and he thinks he's got new ones and wants to get them listed, wants to know if there's someplace else to check. Someplace else to check? Probably no, because whatever is not on those two websites, probably you're not going to find anywhere else. And is it something? Go ahead.
Although we are working on it.
Well, we are working on it.
When you start to spend money on the coins to get it attributed or get it certified or get it graded, a lot of times, dude, you're gonna be throwing your cash away.
Yeah, you better make sure that
That's the level where you need to be able to identify it for yourself first. People have sent me coins scores and scores of times, and they ask questions. They send the coin physically to me. They give me $5 and say, "What's wrong with this coin?" And I have to write back and, give them a report. I weigh it, I measure it, I give it a thorough examination, and I have to tell them it has been cleaned, or it has been damaged, or there's a Twinkie stuck on it. Before you spend the money on certification or attribution, you need to do the homework first and learn, in particular, is this an actual variety or is it an actual error?
And gosh, we're here every Thursday.
And we're here every Thursday. Otherwise, you're probably going to be throwing your cash away. Consider it, the next level. You're getting there, but I'd say you're not quite there yet.
And it doesn't cost you anything to send pictures in to us. And, if it is something, then, you may get a new attribution. But if it isn't, then we saved you $5 or $10 or whatever it costs to do that. But do any of the TPGs recognize Brian as, like, if he puts a new listing, are those recognized?
Annex will.
Annex does. Okay.
Yeah, Brian, I don't know whether he still does or not because I don't really follow Jefferson Nichols that much, but he used to be the die variety lister for Jefferson Nichols for John Wexler's effort with what used to be the NCADD, National Collector Association for Die Doubling. And that was where the WDDO, WDDR numbers were, and Brian used to maintain the nickel part of that.
He still does.
Okay. I wasn't sure that he still did, but I know.
Yeah, if you go on doubledie.com and go to Jefferson Nichols, it actually links you right to Brian's page.
Okay. All right. Mr. Dowdle says, please have a look at this 1971 cent. Could this coin have been struck multiple times? I just don't know.
Oh, I was trying to open that one.
Whoa.
What is
Answer would be no. Yeah, this coin suffers from damage from being beaten through some sort of a soft material, usually leather or wood. or it sat under the floor mat of a car and got mashed on a number of times, or something to that effect.
I'd be curious, what's the diameter of that coin?
It looks to be pretty close to normal. But it could be what, maybe a half a millimeter off.
Yeah.
In the large direction.
Well, his question, I think the wording of it, I think maybe needs to be cleared up a little bit. Because when he's saying, has it been struck multiple times? If he's talking about a double die, then that's not what makes a double die.
Right.
Multiple strike is a different issue.
Yeah.
The dies come together with a planchet in there, they retract. Normally a new planchet is fed in. Sometimes the same one stays right there and gets struck again. And they have a distinct appearance, they have particular characteristics.
Could it have been struck multiple times with a rubber hammer or a rubber mallet? Sure.
Yeah.
That's a good question. That I would say, oh yeah, possible.
I don't see any indication this coin was produced incorrectly or any deviation between this and normal production.
So Chuck, when you say hit between a leather piece, are you referring to like a Texas cent?
No, I'm referring to the softness of the details and how mushed they've become. That's been done by beating on the coin, but not beating on it directly with a sharp tool.
Because the rim looks kind of rounded too.
And that could very well be the case, that these things happen sometimes when you get coins stuck in places like underneath a doormat and they're walked on for a number of years. It can happen in a number of different ways, but the more common way is that they're put between straps of leather and beaten with a hammer.
I would actually group this with dryer coin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that could be the case too.
That was kind of what I was thinking with the rounded off rim and the mushy appearance and how the devices kind of look spread out a little bit. It looks like heated.
Right. Shay, did we already look at this one?
Let's see which one.
Yes. Oh no, unless that's not Layla's, right?
We looked at the 1983 cut earlier, and it was a cut.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
we did. Come from Layla.
we did.
Yeah, but I don't think that one came from Mike White.
Yeah, it was a different name.
Because I know Layla found one.
I'll have the next one up in 5 seconds.
Good night. Good night, Shay's mom.
Oh, good night,
Shay's mom.
Oh, good night, Mom. Take care. Thank you for hanging out with us.
Cool that you're getting into coins. I'm sure that makes Shay just like super excited.
Oh, she's
It's gonna be
she got 3 new boxes this week. So
she asks questions like you do, Shay. She does. Like her questions remind me of things that you would ask. They're good questions.
I don't see Mike White's. Wait. There, I see it.
Let's take a look at this 1984 Lincoln. It says, asking if it's a possible new doubled ear variety.
Yes, you are on a live stream right now with copper coins.
That's right. Welcome to coppercoins.com.
Brian says, "Are you guys almost done?"
17 more photos, and we get kind of tired. That's when they send 20 more.
yeah.
Always.
I'm personally thinking no on this, and I see what you're talking about, and my thought is no. What I think this is a little bit more of the ridge lining thing that comes with the oddity of how the dies wear with the early zinc coins. And there's a lot of die pitting and other little issues going on all around that area. And I think this doubling on the ear can be attributed to the other issues that you can see all around the surface of the coin.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with that. It looks like this is a quite a bit of damage already to the surface.
It's like
I
an
have
orange
a slightly
peel type thing.
different take on it. I
Yeah.
think it's a blister.
Plating blister.
If you zoom back out, go to that last picture you just had up. You see how it follows up onto the cheekbone?
Yeah, on the jawbone there, just below the earlobe.
Yep.
Yeah.
And based on what I see in front of his mouth, I see the same type of thing going on right in front of his lips.
And that's definitely zinc blisters.
Not to mention all these.
Yep.
That's very possible. Either way, it could be a little bit of dye wear, dye damage, or zinc blister. Either way, I don't think it's a hub double dye.
And I agree. Good eye though. I would definitely that's one I would take a real close look at under my scope.
There is a listed 1984 that's not very different from that. There are two 1984 doubled ears, the big one and a much smaller one that looks a little bit like this.
Is it just me, or like are our emails and questions and everything getting like so good?
Oh yeah.
Like
Everybody.
they are actually like knowing what they're looking for.
I do have. I mean, I have a special favor to ask you guys, though. I mean, just to make it a little bit better.
Help them with the photos.
Yeah, if you could send one picture of the front, the whole front, and one of the reverse, the whole reverse, and then do a close up, right? And please send a question with your email, because when it just says when there's a question mark and that's the only thing in the whole thing, or maybe there's no words at all, it's just an email with a picture. It really makes it tough to figure out what's going on. So please write a question with your submission.
And opinions, please, is not a question.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna start going through. I'm gonna start going through them during the week and replying if they're not, So
I don't want to skip anybody's coin, but if you send me a blurry photo with no words or questions or opinions or anything in it, then I'm likely just going to start passing them up, right?
If you say, "What do you think?" I think I'll move on to the next one.
Yeah. All right.
And I do have something that the panelists talked about before. If you can't take good pictures, but you have a microscope, I'm sure, would have no problem having you up here to show your coin under your microscope with your question. But email ahead of time and let us know
Is,
what
these microscopes have the capability of taking a picture anyway.
some, but not on, like, some people only have like a phone. And I've seen people not be able to like store pictures.
Did we ever find an actual RPM number for that 57D?
No, I didn't. I didn't have enough to go on. We could try looking at it again, but there's so many 1957Ds listed that are very similar to one another. It really takes kind of taking a good look at all of the markers on the coin to figure out what you're looking at.
Well, the one thing that threw me off were those die scratches that coin had, that I can't match that up to anything.
Right. That particular one had some nice pivots in the die. And I saw some that could have been similar.
I thought like 16 was close.
I think I was looking at number 14 and number 45.
See, I looked at 44. I didn't think 14, the position matched on 14. But
All right.
I don't know.
This next one came from D. Reese. One more. Okay, just found this one. I understand the cut, but is this a die crack lamination or a deteriorated die?
Good.
Cut below and looks like a lamination up above.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Keeper.
Yeah, that's nice. What a
I had a cud one time.
Kind of a kick in the pants and a slap in the face at the same time.
I had a beautiful cud at one time.
This is just to tell you how Paula is. So
Now I just have a picture of it.
she bought my first cud fine and
I couldn't.
paid for it and then sent it back to me and said she couldn't take it.
I lost sleep. I lost sleep over that coin. I had to just take a picture and send it back. It didn't belong to me.
That was so sweet. It was the sweetest thing.
Aw.
This for Jason Wilder. If you want to send some images to cd@coppercoins.com of your coin, I'll take a look at it and I'll see what I can do about attributing it to the photos. It takes a little more time than we really have sitting on the show.
Yeah, make sure there's
Your coin, it can take me up to an hour to figure out what die it is.
straight pictures and full reverse and obverse pictures for him, because
And any areas that you think are really good markers. For instance, the die scratches next to the D. Anything other than that you see that look like good markers?
yeah,
Take good images of those too. Give me all the information that I could possibly need.
you forgot to put your YouTube name on my email in regards. Well, it's probably the only one we have of a 68S, Brian. So it's good odds that we'll know who the coin belongs to. He just sent a picture and he forgot to put his YouTube name.
Oh, Bingo Brian?
Yeah,
What did Bingo Brian send us?
a 68S.
68S.
He just sent it a few minutes ago. So
Ah, here's Bill Betts sharing one of his coins.
I've seen you on his channel.
Oh, I got a pretty decent idea. I know what this is.
No question. Just is this the one that he thought was a D over a horizontal D?
No,
No.
I think this is probably one of the ones that we found in the roll review. He ended up with I think he ended up with one of the plate coins for the website.
Oh, on your roll opening. That's
Yeah.
right. You did the 49D. Somebody
Right.
was asking, maybe, I don't think it was a 49. I think somebody was asking about a 46D over horizontal D or something. Anyway, I digress. Go ahead.
Okay, well, one of the images is causing me to crash. So hold on just 1 second. I've got the images. Now let me just transition over. There we go.
Is it the images or is it Shay?
Well, no, it's like every so often one of the images is corrupt for some reason. I'm not sure what's going on. I think it's something with Yahoo's zip feature.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's nice. I concur. RPM for sure.
That sure is a nice one.
Chuck, what's that little bit off to the side of the D?
Which side?
The left side.
That
Yeah.
looked like coin damage.
Oh, okay.
Coin damage or something sitting on the coin, like a hair or something. This is RPM number 1. It's a pretty pretty nice repunch mint mark, as we can see. It actually has 3 Ds because the upper serif of the primary D is actually split. So you have 2 Ds making up the primary D, and then you have that third D to the northeast. Nice repunch mint mark.
Yep.
Decent value in that one. It's a top 100 listed die variety.
Was that the only one you found in the roll?
No, this isn't one I found in the roll.
Oh, it's not? Oh, I thought you found it during your roll.
No, this one's circulated. The roll I opened was a BU roll. This one's actually got a FIFA Stanton number on it. So
Mhm,
it's FS listed. It's cherry picker listed coin.
mhm. Very nice.
There was one new variety found in the let me check my book real quick. I've got a book here that I log everything that I find. Yeah, it was the 49D roll. There was a new double die, and it also had a repunch mint mark. So it was a double die obverse repunch mint mark. It was a new die. And I don't have them. I don't know if I have them listed yet. I don't think I have them listed yet.
If you
But
guys haven't seen Chuck's live roll reveal that he does, check him out. Go watch a couple of his last ones that he did. They're very cool. They're very cool. Even if you didn't buy any coins from those rolls, just to watch how he searches them and stuff like that. It's very informative.
Yeah, see, I got a whole page of die varieties that I've found in roll reveals that I've not yet put on the website, so I've not had time to add those.
I'm done sucking up now. So.
I love you, Paula.
I love you too. Let me eat my sun chips, sorry. But I do like that RPM. That's very cool.
That is a very nice one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he pulled out like three different RPM varieties for me in one of the last ones I did. That was fun.
But Mr. Betts did indeed get some new listing die varieties from at least one of the roll reveals I did recently.
So will his name be on there too, or just
Yes.
Yes.
It was on the 49D roll. I had a new listing, die number 22,
Mm-hmm.
that I attributed to Mr. Betts.
Very cool.
And he gets the original coin marked as a plate coin with my signature on the holder. And he also gets his name listed on the website under that particular coin as having credit for submitting that coin.
Yeah, you've got a few of those coming, right? Different people with plate coins. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And then I was supposed to do a 63D roll yesterday, but I'm not going to get to it until tomorrow. But I'm also doing a 1946S roll tomorrow. Hoping to have a brand new, fresh, uncirculated roll of 1946S 73-year-old coins.
Oh boy, that'll be exciting if you find you know what there.
Yeah, you know what? Here, take a quick look. There's one end of it. And there's the other end. 1946S.
Can you imagine? I'll keep my fingers crossed. That's going to be.
Yes, bingo, Brian. You do have spots for that one.
That's going to be exciting.
What do we have here? 1958D interior die break. Look at this nice interior die break on the mint mark. The eye appeal is amazing too. I've seen a couple of different 58Ds.
Look at the purple on that coin. Wow.
I've seen this one before. I call this the crying 1958D. It looks like it has teardrops running down from the D.
So that is a beautiful coin. I love that toning.
Well, you heard of the flying D. Now you have the crying D.
Exactly. You got the 52D flying D into the 58D crying D. These coins are actually pretty scarce. This particular year in mint is actually pretty scarce in 66.
God, those are so pretty. They remind me of, when they're toned like that, they remind me kind of mother of pearl.
Yeah.
Oh, so pretty.
Yeah, there's a slight iridescence going on there.
Yeah, that's stunning. It's very even too, and
a particular coloration that I've heard before that kind of reminds me of that. It's called opalescent.
Yeah, opalescent. Mm-hmm.
It has the yellows and blues and stuff. I've seen that in toning on some coins.
Yeah, that's like mother of pearl has that opalescence on it too. Oh yeah, it's gorgeous.
Exactly. That is a pretty 58D there.
That is stunning.
What does Ken have up right now?
I don't know, but Ken's being awfully quiet, so I'm getting a little worried.
That's just my scope. I've got one from Dave W. He's saying, is this a cud? And if I can get over there, we'll do a screenshot and take a look. He's asking, is this a cud?
That's what we looked at. So that wasn't Layla's coin. That's his coin.
It was his coin.
Yeah.
Yep. 100%. Sure enough.
100%. Definitely a cud.
Yeah.
A couple of things you can look at to tell that a coin is a cud. First of all, you're looking at that raised metal over the rim. And that's actually raised higher than the level of the rim. That's because the rim is actually part of the die. And when the die breaks off, you're going to be left with essentially what's blank planchet in a certain area. And then when you flip the coin over and look at the other side, exactly opposite that hump, you will usually see some kind of slight sometimes, but it's going to be some weakness on that other side.
Yep.
It's going to be right up in that area of states of on that particular coin. And you can see how the rim is shaped just a little bit differently in that area. And that's going to be weakness from the lack of metal to fill in the die cavity on that side because it's filling in a hole on the other side.
Well, and a little birdie told me that a cud will also be either shaped in like a C or U or a D.
Wow.
See how
I should take on a middle initial of U.
see how I retain that information.
My initials would be CUD then.
Right?
Yeah.
Come up with a good name that starts with U, real quick.
Ulysses. Ulysses is a very good name. It's a presidential name.
Unger.
It'd be Chuck Underdog Daughtry.
Yule.
May the Chuck be with you.
May the Chuck be with you
Always.
always.
I am your father.
Oh God, no, you're not. Who's your daddy? I'm getting delirious. I gotta go.
Paula Spartan.
I am so tired.
We've got three more after this one.
All right.
Let's hit 4 and let's be on with it.
All right.
1968S and question about doubling or RPM, etc. What's the question?
There is no question.
He said he tried to send it quick.
Yeah, he's in chat.
Let's look and see. Okay, that's a 1968S Lincoln Cent, and the fact that the top of the mint mark and the top of the date are kind of clipped, cut off looking and doubled, that's going to tell me that's machine doubling. And machine doubling is very common on 1968 Lincolns.
And the fact that
Yeah, Liberty.
the mark and the date had the exact same doubling because the mint marks were punched in separately. They were punched in by hand after that date was already on the die. So you know that if the mint mark has the same doubling as the date, it is machine doubling
Every time.
every time.
Until you get the 19.
Because I've heard this question before, is they've punched the mint mark into the die. Just to make sure.
Yeah.
People.
Yeah, not the coin, not the planchette.
Yeah.
The
It's hard to put something into it and make it raised.
yeah. So if you had a doubled die already, a hub doubled die already, then they put the mint mark on. That mint mark is not going to have that same doubling that is already on that coin because it's placed on separately. So when it has the same like that, it is machine doubling all the time. Or as CJ says, all day. All day long. Hubba dubba dub,
Frank's got these awesome terms all day long.
all day
Frank's a
long.
man.
Yeah, but Frank's kind of freaking me out because both of us have typed the same thing at the same time twice.
You're twinning.
Hubba dubba. Okay. Another thing, you got the doubling on the date, right? If it's a doubled die, it has a class. There is a way method that doubling came about.
Rotated.
You would not have that same method to produce the doubling on the mint mark, which is punched in by hand. Oh, here we go. So anyway, I got another one here from numismatic picker. He's got a
nose picker
coin in his hand.
That's the same coin we looked at. What do you want to know?
Okay, that's the same one. But he's showing these off. Well, you can't blame him. They're gorgeous. Look at it. He's saying it. What is he saying? I picked up some of these sets of Franks that look to be cameo or deep cameo. Got the sets for Gray Sheep bid. Well, now you're bragging. The coin store I work at has all crappy sets. Well, these look okay.
It's spotty, though.
We're looking at them.
Spotty.
Little spot right there. This might be a speck, but that's a spot. There we go. A little milkiness right here.
Mm-hmm.
Bright spanking black and white with as few spots and blemishes as possible. Oh, look, we got to count 1, 2, 3, 4.
Those are 61s, though.
Yeah, that's a 61. Well, it's a good pickup.
63.
Got him.
Oh, heck yeah.
Stop biting your nails.
That ain't never going to happen.
Okay.
He makes me bite my nails. I love the kid, though.
Let's see if I can pull another one up here.
I got the next one.
Halftime perk.
Halftime. Oh, it's from Frank W.
Oh, now he's just showing off. He's putting this up because he knows it's going to kill me.
Can I read this one?
Yeah.
1853 halftime. It possesses a great die crack as well as clashing. The letters half dime appear to be thicker than normal as well. Paula, be jealous.
Is somebody mocking me?
Okay, Frank.
Take that crack through the 3.
Look at that tiny little fella.
Oh, I love him.
This whole thing.
Love him.
Ooh, that's a nice clash, right?
Oh, yeah. All over.
All day long.
All day long.
So that's 1.34 grams. No arrows?
No, it's got arrows.
Okay, 1.24 grams.
And that's why the arrows.
That's right. That's exactly right.
And the thing you guys have to understand about Frank is he pays next to nothing for these coins. He, I don't know how he does it. It's magic. Look up under states. Look at that. Look at it. Look at it. Yeah.
I think that's called cherry picking.
Yay.
I have come across a number of these. I love them.
Well, it's very common. I mean, it's actually more uncommon to find those without some type of, thing like that. But especially the clashes. But man, you get them when they are nice and huge and big like that, and they're gorgeous. I think he was asking about the halftime too, about if it's doubled the letters.
Yeah, he was wondering if the letters of halftime appear thicker than normal. And they kind of do. But they also look a little flattened. So
I would vote for normal.
yeah.
Yeah, you can, all of the devices are kind of flattened out on that. You can tell from the lack of detail.
Yeah, that rode in the chest, a linen chest in the back of the Conestoga wagon for 4 months.
Yeah.
And that buffeting flattened the devices.
And it was on a slanted surface or something. See how it's like just a lot weaker down at where the ribbon is, and then it just gradually gets higher and higher, really towards the top.
Yeah, they had issues back there then in the mint.
And that would be like a tilted die, or like, right? Like slanted.
Spatial.
Oh yeah, it's spatial, all right. But you know, I say it all the time. They spent their coins back then. I mean, those things they spent the crap out of them. That was really their big, commerce. I mean, I'm sure they didn't carry around a lot of paper or plastic. But that's still nice though.
Could it be an uneven planchet? Possibly, but with this level of wear, it's more likely uneven wear.
Yeah.
And for this size, it gets really, really hard to tell if that's an uneven planchet.
Numismatic picker asked how much Frank paid for that half dime.
He ain't gonna tell you that because he's gonna try to sell it to you.
Well, he paid 5 cents for it because he got it in change back when it was new, didn't he?
Oh, right. That's right. That's right. He's the original owner.
He carried it in the Conestoga.
Sorry, Frank. I love you.
Downloading the last one because I'm not going to show more of Trey's same Franklin.
All right. Frank's smart, though, I mean, he knows what he's looking at, and he's patient. And he doesn't jump on the first thing he finds.
Shay is learning the power of the word no.
I have not conquered it yet, so.
I never will. That's okay.
You can be a student all your life. As long as you keep studying, you're doing well.
I like it.
Chris is over here spilling his drink.
No, actually, I knocked over a penny tube.
Oh,
I do that all the time. Usually onto the floor, right above the grate.
1962D. Nice BU roll. Taped up for God knows how long. Sounds tight, too.
Bingo Brian.
found this in a roll while searching. I assume it's a true die class since it's raised, correct? 1986P, Lincoln Cent.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep, that's Clash.
Nice one.
That's the jailbird.
Purdy.
Any inside the bays?
That was minted in my special year.
Anything that used to be there was polished off.
Yeah, for sure.
Nope. That is a nice one, though.
Yep, I like when you can see the base of the memorial as well.
Mm-hmm. Keeper, man, they tried to polish that off. They tried to polish it off. Can you imagine what it must have looked like the ones before they polished them?
That's exactly what I was just thinking.
Oh God.
I would be willing to bet this was clashed, then abraded, then
clashed again. Probably, you're probably right.
Yeah, because that would be way more than 12.
If you look at the
because that relief on that clash is almost higher than his vest.
Well, and part of the point with that too also is that the edges of the little lines on the clash are so sharp that if you had polished over them that much, they wouldn't be sharp anymore.
Yeah, you're probably exactly right. That entire die was like, they went to town on that, man. Look what I can do.
Cross the new flag.
Bingo Brian, as far as value, I sell these from time to time, and I'm lucky to get $5 for them.
Yeah, I would say 8 to 10 at a maximum.
I mean, they're cool to collect and fun to find.
I wouldn't sell that, though. I would keep that one.
Now, you could probably, tell that story how this one has been, how it was clashed, polished, clashed again, and you might be able to,
Because you can even see the polished marks on Lincoln, which means that they used one of those deep rotary
Yeah.
I mean, there was something serious.
Yeah, they had a brownout next door for the power. They were grinding that thing off.
He was having a fight with his wife on the phone and forgot what he was doing.
You ever see Dumb and Dumber when they're getting their nails filed down?
Oh my god! Like a belt grinder. So you're saying there's a chance?
This is great for like I have one of these. I have like every time I come across a different error variety, I keep as many of them as I can. But Mom has been learning a whole bunch because I always take my books down with her and just go over coin by coin by coin so that she can see them and see them in person, and that really helps her learn. So
This is not a reclash. It's a clash on.
Clash on.
Clash on.
Clash on. Clash back on.
much.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool one.
I can breathe.
Yay!
No more emails, huh?
Not a date that I see a lot
We'll save them for next week.
clashes on either. You know?
I see it, Shay.
I know Shay looks tired. I'm gonna go, you guys, because I'm gonna pass out.
Yeah, I think we're about done for the night.
Good night. Thanks everybody. Shay,
See you,
Shay,
Paula.
as always, Shay, you did an amazing job.
That's right. Big group hug.
That's like big.
Oh.
Group hug for Shay.
Congratulations on your 1,000 subscribers again.
Yeah, congrats.
Thank you very much.
You need to go back and monetize this video. Don't forget.
Oh, am I at that point now?
No, now you're in the holding period.
Yeah, you're in the holding period, but
So
do it anyway, just in case.
Thanks,
next
Brian.
they'll start it out.
Okay. Good night, everybody in chat. Good night.
Good night, guys. Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
So they're coming up with good questions, great pictures. They're pushing the envelope and they're learning. That's the whole idea.
That's the point here. All right, folks. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for stopping by. Make sure you get down there and like the video, subscribe to the channel, and subscribe to all these other people's channels too, because they help out. They do a lot. They also host this show. Who's doing it next week? Do we know yet?
Who's up? I don't know, man. Is it my turn? Chris Rhodes.
Somebody just disappeared.
I can't do it. My computer just can't do it.
When you're ready, we're ready for you.
When I get a new computer.
We're
So
ready.
you're going to be on Ken PV's channel next week?
Probably that's what it sounds like.
Okay, so Ken PV's channel, you want to put a link out there for us so that we all know how to get there?
I don't know the link. Wait a minute.
I'll get it.
Search Ken PV on YouTube. You'll find it.
Yeah, I'll just type my name. Okay, there's YouTube. This is me. There, and you can go over to the side there and click on the three dots, and it'll get you there.
Yeah, the three dots next to his name in the chat.
Or just click on the thing Magic put up.
It's https youtube.com/user/kpv2.
It's so easy too. I don't know why you don't remember.
That's because he keeps forgetting to put the 2 on the end.
Yeah.
All right, folks. We had a great time. Hope you did too. Hope everybody enjoyed it. And we're going to sign off for now. We'll see you next week, Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. And that's 5:30 p.m. Pacific? Something like that.
It's like
To use Google to figure that out.
Ken PV1 is the old version of Ken PV2.
yeah, it got that got hacked, and I didn't have any content anyway, so I had to start over again, and that's how creative I get. 2. Good. This works.
Be well, everybody.
Night.
Stay groovy.